Hello, 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 you wonderful people out there on YouTube. Yes, it's Siege. We are here. One of the last live shows I'll be doing for the next few weeks, now 2 months, you know. Anyway, we're here. We're gonna see who shows up. We're gonna see who pops around, who comes around, who wants to chat, who wants to ramble, who wants to bitch and moan. I don't know. There's more insanity in the world today. Yes, it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And well, we'll have all that shit. We'll be covering quite a bit of topics today. We'll be saying hello to a lot of people that come in and out. Um, yeah. Anyway, it's Deej here. So let me see. How did the weekend go? Well, my weekend sucked. It sucked. The Bears lost. God damn it. Son of a bitch. The Bears lost. So we'll cover that one right off the bat. Um, Hello, Jackie. Good morning. Um, I should be in bed. Got up way too goddamn early. Have to go to the damn doctor's appointment, but hey, getting old sucks like that. Got to go to the doctor when they tell you to. Of course, he wants me back in about 2 months because quantum. Nothing else going on. Be out in the fields this week. I'm actually surprised. He said Wednesday or Thursday. I was actually surprised I didn't get a message from him this morning because he usually changes his mind. And I always get the last second notification. You never know. He could message still at any point and say, "Hey, we're gonna try." We'll see. Trying to check out though. Last night they were talking. We were supposed to get some rain overnight, but no, it's gonna be a hot one today. Gonna be a hot one today. We still got warm weather. It's gonna be pushing 90 degrees again today. Hello, Thomas Potts. Freaking middle of September, and we're gonna be hitting 90 today. That sucks. Yeah. 90 tomorrow too. Some bitch. In mid 80s, 90s all chance to get pushing 90 degrees till Friday. What the hell? Cools back down. So, yeah. Let's see what else is going on. I'm just giving some time for people to pop into the chat and stuff before I start my ranting and ravings. Um, hey, I survived a whole week without getting food poisoning. That's a good thing, folks. I managed to get through the whole week without getting food poisoning again. So hey, we're doing good. Thomas Potts is lucky. It's only going to be 79 there today. Well, 79 is a good temperature. At least it's comfortable. Let's see. What else is going on that I can ramble about before I get into the main topics? Um. Oh, let me just say this. Taylor Swift, you're a hack. Yes, I will say it right off the bat. Taylor Swift is a hack. She's got millions and millions of dollars. Doesn't realize how people are hurting. Yeah, got all them millions. A little scrawny ass toothpick woman. I don't know what the hell anybody sees in her. But hey, you want to be brain damaged and like Taylor Swift? Go ahead. It's America. You can be that. Okay. Oh man, lots of burps. Coffee is running through my body. Any Hooters. Any Hooters. Um, so apparently there was another would-be attempt on former President Trump's life again. My question is, how the hell did the dude know that he was going to be out golfing when it was a last minute thing? Huh? How do you know that? Of course, leftards first tried to say that he was Republican, but it's come out that no, he is actually a registered Democrat, has been for quite a few years, um, has donated tons of money to Act Blue. Let me see. Didn't that other would be assassin donate to Act Blue? Huh. Seems like there's a kind of a whole running parallel here. Huh. Of course, this dude was completely nuts and wanted to go to Ukraine and fight in the war there, except Ukrainians told him no. Yeah. And so then when he was told no that he couldn't actually fight, he tried to get Afghanis. Like they're really good at fighting. Yeah, they couldn't even keep the Taliban from taking control again. So what the hell good would they be anyway fighting Russians? No, no, that's just and apparently he wrote a book with suppose a fiance or whatever, where he actually said in there in the book where that Trump should be, yeah, completely nuts. Plus, he wanted to be best friends with Kim Jong Un. Yeah, he's completely a mentally unstable person. Neighbors said that they were frightened of him because he was really loony. He'd already been arrested, well, multiple times arresting, but apparently he had a armed standoff with police a while back at his construction business or some shit. So they know that the dude has guns. They know he's mentally unstable. He's done all this shit. And yeah. Mr. Londell's in the house. Hello, Mr. Londell. But that's right. The $64 question is, how the hell does this dude know that he was going to be out golfing when it was a last minute decision? It was not a public record that he was going to be out that day or anything else. Of course, now you've got moronic Democrats online that are saying, well, the guy never fired a shot, so it's not an assassin. He was waiting there with a gun. He had shit for body armor. He had a GoPro cam so he could record the whole damn thing. Yeah, the dude was a mentally unstable thing, and let's just hope he's not Epstein. Hello, Dr. Scotty. Howdy doody. But they'll probably put him in a mental institution for a while and then release him, because Democrats don't believe in mental institutions anymore. They believe in feelings. And of course, Elon Musk tweeted out, pointing out that it seems like Harris and them haven't had any of these issues, that it must be uh, the mental instability on one side, but, everybody's claiming that now he's trying to get people. Yeah, Rock Solid Productions. Yes, my live streams are a mental institution, except Rock Solid. I don't allow anyone into my mental institution here that would advocate for offing political opponents. I kind of believe they should just be exposed for the corrupt idiots that they are and laughed at. That is how I believe. But other than that, yes, I am mentally weird. But hey, that's Deej for you. Let's see. What the hell else? Bounce? Is that a hint, Rock Solid? Is that really a hint? No. I kind of get what you're going at there, Rock Solid. I think I do.
Tennis ball, throw it against the wall. Tennis ball, throw it against the wall. Tennis ball, throw it against the wall. Bounce, 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 bounce. Tennis ball, throw it against the wall. Tennis ball, throw it against the wall. Tennis ball, throw it against the wall. Bounce, 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 bounce.
That's right. We're bouncing along today, folks. Bounce, 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 bounce. Uh-oh, Thomas Potts opened his 2600 and looks like water damage. Oh, I'm so sorry, Thomas. That sucks. I'm not opening my 2600 because it still works. Not touching it. Damn thing's almost as old as I am. Still going. Let's see, what the hell else? Uh-oh, Mark Hamill thinks he's mission accomplished because he got Stephen King to follow him. Well, that's just one loony leftist following another loony leftist. It don't matter. Surprised it took him this long. Oh, we got the idiots out there trying to say it was a staged attempt again. And you just see the mental instability on the left there. It's staged, everything's faked. Still trying to complain. They're still trying to say that the would-be assassin's a Republican, even though he had a Harris Biden sticker on the back of his. He's donated to Act Blue. He's a registered Republican. They're mental. People are mental. Thomas is still waiting for Skynet. Rock Solid said, "Get the Atari 2600 Plus. Works with HDMI too." I want ET. I want to play ET. Damn it! I want to play ET. I want to play. Let's see. What are some of the other horrible games the Atari 2600 had way back in the day? Really horrible. The best game I had for Atari though was Othello. Love that little strategy game. Of course, Pitfall. Captain Fandom Nerd is in the chat. Hello, Cap. Bring me up some coffee. Come on up here and bring me some coffee, Cap. Get up here. Been a while since you've had a morning show. Oh, let's see what the hell. I want some coffee. I need more. No, I've had enough coffee for the day. I'm already buzzed up on coffee. Besides, there's coffee in that nebula. Well, yeah, it's the good games. Mario Brothers, Donkey Kong, Donkey Kong was fun. Oh, I even liked Space Invaders. I was good at Space Invaders. But we need a video of the worst games for the Atari 2600. Cap needs to make more coffee. Of course, while I was at the doctor's office this morning, he wants to see me again in a couple of months because when I was there last week in the ER, they set me up for physical therapy again. Physical therapy. Keep it down. I can hear my machine. Rage against the machine. Yeah, Porky's was terrible for a game. I gotta go watch Porky's again. Damn it, son of a bitch. Anyway, where was I? Oh, I was talking about the damn doctor's office. They wanted me to do physical therapy, but the first they could get me in is next month. So I got a whole month to wait on that. My doctor's couldn't believe it was going to take that long. Then he sat there and he said, "Well, I want to see you 3 to 4 weeks after you start the physical therapy again because we're definitely going to push these people to get your back surgery done so you can stop having all these episodes." Hey, but Philip Gaming's awake. Bill is awake. So yeah. So probably by the blah blah blah, and they'll do this and they'll do that, and it probably won't be till the first of next year before I even get to see her surgery. But hey, I'll be laid up. I have to get a new comfy chair before surgery if I'm going to sit at a computer. Yeah. But at least they want to try to push this forward and get it going again. I'm not going to be too over hopeful on it, but they want to push for it. I will see it when I believe it, or I'll believe it when I see it. Yeah, that's how it goes. I'll see it. I'll believe it when I'll see it when I believe it. That didn't make any sense. What the fuck? What the fuck? I'll see it when I believe it. Yeah, that's dumb. That's just dumb as hell. Anyway, I see the movie Am I Racist? The Matt Walsh comedy documentary cracked the top 5 for movies of the week. Apparently, Beetlejuice is still number 1. And again, you look at what's coming out. Why wouldn't it be? It really wasn't shit. I need to hear Help World. I'm kind of lost on that one. Yeah, I'm always back asswards. It's like I get up and have a coffee cuppy in the morning. Everything's backwards today, folks. It's Monday. What do you expect? It's Monday. Don't expect too much out of a Monday on me. We're just doing everything backwards. Yeah, I heard about the new Matlock show. It's a woman. Tito Jackson, yes, sadly passed away of a heart attack. 70 years old. Tito, bring me some tissue. Another one of the Jackson 5 gone. Now, what's left? The Jackson 3? What else is going on in pop culture? Let's just look up something. Pop culture. Anything else? What the hell else is going on? Um, Shelley Duvall snubbed during Emmys in memorandum sparks outrage. Yeah. Nothing really else really worthy to talk about. But how would you know if Shelley Duvall was snubbed? Really, she's so skinny. She could have fit in there anywhere, and you could have blinked and missed it. I trust me, Gorilla. I will not Google alien movie from 1992. I won't do it. Not gonna fall for it. I don't fall for these things. People tell me not to do something, then they think I'll do it. I'm not gonna do it. I won't do it. Not gonna do it. Wouldn't be prudent. Wouldn't be prudent. Not gonna do it. Wait a minute. Now, why am I acting like George Bush? Bill said I saw the Jacksons play 2 weeks ago. It was only three of them: Jackie, Marlon, and Tito. Oh, well, Jermaine, yeah, Jermaine's. Yeah, so it'll be the Jackson duo. No, it'll be Marlon and Jackie. I'm not gonna do it. You can't get me. Not even with rock solid saying. What's going on in Deej's mind? Do it, do it, do it. You don't want to know what's going on in Deej's mind. It's a very warped and twisted, demented place that only I should live in. Do do do. Hey, maybe we can get our own Jackson 5 going up. Londell can be one of them. I can be another one. We'll pull in Captain Fandom Nerd. We'll let LTG be Latoya. Good morning, Indie Tiger. A couple of more weeks till he starts his new job. Congrats. That's right, Josh. My mind does make look a horror movie look like G-rated movies. Hell, my mind makes a triple X movie look like a PG-13 movie. What the hell? Bird of Prey 5. What's the whole Jackson 5 with all its terrible accents? Ah, yeah. Oh, I'm still missing Bird like crazy. LDG, yeah. I think Cap's laughing at my LDG could be Latoya comment. Kind of nutty, goofy Jackson that even the Jacksons didn't want to hang out with. I haven't figured out who would be the good Michael Jackson, though. I'm still working on that one. Probably JP, though. He'd make a good Michael Jackson. You know, JP's hears that and he's going to yell at me, but hey. Walker! I don't care. Ricky's Radio, hello. 47 Yorktown is in the house. Phil said he'd like to be Michael Jackson, but he doesn't like little boys. All right, Phil. So we'll make you Joe Jackson. You're the one that's going to abuse all the rest of us. There you go, Phil. You're Joe Jackson. You're going to be the abuser. You're going to be the one that causes Michael to go insane. There you go, Bill. We got you covered. Plus, I could see you with that little cheesy thin line mustache there. So, well, Phil could be 90% plastic. We don't know. He did have plastic ears. Were they plastic? There's some type of polymer. Oh, I can't be one of the Jacksons. I'm still Elvis, damn it. I'm the one that's going to die of a heart attack sitting on the toilet. That'll be my way to go. That's my preferred way to go, taking a dump and having a heart attack and keeling over and hitting the floor. See, this stream's just pure insanity. I don't know which way to take it, so it's just flying all over the place. I'm taking cues on the chat now on how this is like a choose your own adventure book. Chat says something, and that's the direction we fly off to. That's how it goes, folks. Choose your own adventure. This is how this thing goes. Hey, rock solid. It's already been proven I have a heart. It might not be big, but it's there. I have already had the one heart attack. They proved that I have one. They proved that I had one. I didn't think I had one either until that first one. And Phil, I don't have to worry about that anymore because, well, she passed away. He's dead. You know, they're all voting Democrat now. They're all voting Democrat now. They died. I am not fake news. Sometimes I'm unreliable news, but hey. Snow White made Disney, and now Snow White may end. No, Disney was already ended before the Snow White. I still will laugh if it even gets released. It keeps getting pushed back and keeps getting pushed back and it keeps getting pushed back. That thing's supposed to have been out for years now, and now it's pushed till 2025. It could be pushed off even later than that. They could just decide screw it and take the loss and not even put it out there because Rachel Ziegler can't keep her mouth shut. She just keeps digging her own hole deeper and deeper because it's so weird. I had a heart attack because I'm not the Grinch. I'm Scrooge, damn it. I'm not Grinch, I'm Scrooge. Bah humbug. Bah humbug. Leave me be to sit by the fire and eat my bowl of gruel and oh, now we've got real insanity popping up on the screen. And before I allow him up here, we've got to introduce him.
I grew up on Men.
Clip that.
Oh yeah, clip it.
You're never going to let me live that one down.
No, I'm not.
I don't blame you. So what's going on, man? What are you guys talking about?
I'm just rambling. It's like a choose your own adventure book today. It's whatever the chat starts talking about. That's what I start going with.
Well, I'm quite happy that, well, speaking of Disney here, I'm just happy that it seems like these acolyte nut jobs have finally lost their steam.
They never had steam in the first place. All they had was gas coming out of their ass.
Well, yeah, pretty much, but it's just annoying to see it. I mean, I used to go to like CBR and other geek sites, and there used to be decent stories and stuff there. Bad editing, shitty grammar because nobody has a fucking editor anymore. But I was like, okay, but then like, I was like, you're still using the Kelly Marie Tran thing that's been debunked for how many fucking years now? I
Who
was like,
knows?
I just want to quote Vivek Ramaswamy here with these people. It's like, just shut the fuck up.
Rock Solid says, even I, a Disney junkie, will not go see Snow White. Like anyone would take Rachel Ziegler over Gal Gadot. No, nobody would take Rachel Ziegler. She has to wear shirts that embroider a boob line just so she looks like she has something. She's so flat chested.
I'm sorry, but between the Snow White that got and the Evil Queen, dude, put me under the spell, Evil Queen. I'm taking that because, whew, she is way hotter.
Jeffrey Nelson pops into the chat, says, my AI girlfriend said hi to Deej and his audience. Well, at least she said hi and didn't make you pay $20 to be able to come today. So you're doing good there. Uh-oh, Job is in the chat. We're in trouble now.
No, there's no
Lawnmower
way.
Man.
There's
The
no way.
Lawnmower
Actually,
Man.
what? Oh, sorry, Deej.
Yeah, the Lawnmower Man is in chat now. So look out,
Nice.
folks.
God, I haven't seen that in forever. The Lawnmower Man. That was a.
I see it every time I go to the underground. I see the Lawnmower Man.
Now, if I'm gonna watch a Snow White movie that's coming out, I'll watch the one that the Daily Wire is doing because I've already seen the first stills of it, and I'm like, oh, awesome, this looks good. Also, I think that everybody, if anybody is like, well, why didn't they use little people? Blame the motherfucker from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, blame that dipshit for mouthing off, and just because he's got his career and it's good, he wants to shoot everybody else down. And oh yeah, what a fucking moron!
Yeah, and I was watching you watch the dwarves come on there, and yes, I can say dwarf. My wife is a dwarf. So,
So is my penis, but I don't.
what? Well, dwarfism does happen down there as we get older.
I know. Fucking sucks getting old.
Oh, you have no idea. Oh, wait,
At least it's not dragging on the ground anymore. I'm kind of glad it shrank a little.
But yeah, I mean, he just had to open his damn mouth about things like, dude, your whole fucking career, and you're gonna sit here and ruin it for everybody else. Nice going, asshole.
Rock Solid says it's not the Lawnmower Man in the underground. It's the Rain Man. Definitely boxers. Got to be boxers. Got to go to Kmart. Got to go to Kmart. Almost time for Jeopardy. Got to go to Kmart. Anyway, see, I told you it's like a choose your own adventure book. I see things in the chat and I just go there.
Oh man.
Oh man.
I like that. I'm here for your stepmom. Oh shit, that would be an interesting porn parody.
Been there, done that already. Real life. Anyway, Darren is in the house.
Hello, Deej.
Good morning, Darren.
How are you?
How you doing, Bubblehead?
Doing all right, Jar.
I'm trying to give entertainment to the masses this morning.
Okay.
That's cool. The only thing I got going on right now is the shiplap getting installed. That started today.
What block?
Now I put it in the group chat. and or not in the group chat. Even I DM'd it in my group chat, and yeah, I mean, this is going to be nice once the ship laps up. We are going to be able to have both sides of the house match up.
Oh, nice.
Because one side of the house, well, long story short, this house is actually two houses built together. There was originally one side of the house, and then they had an addition added on. And they did all the shiplap wood, really nice stuff on one side of the house. And then, I don't know, they ran out of money, ran out of interest because the other side of the house just looks completely different. Like they just ran out of time. And we're finally, well, we were fortunate enough to get this done this year because I thought we were going to have to hold it off till next year. But damn, it's looking nice. I like my contractor. He's great.
So, Deej, I heard that you were out of sorts for the last couple weeks.
Well, I had
Feeling better
food
now?
poisoning,
Oh,
and
I'll do
then
it.
all the throwing up threw my back out.
Oh. Well, silver lining, did you lose any weight?
Yes, I did. I actually lost 13 pounds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if I'm
First,
lucky,
when I was
I'll
at
end
the
up
hospital last week, they said I was still fairly dehydrated.
Yeah.
So I kind of put 3 of those pounds back on after I got rehydrated. But
Gotcha.
that's still 10 pounds less. So, hey, I'll take
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So we were going to go see Thor, and all of a sudden I'm like starting to have, I thought I was having a sugar crash. And I was like, told my wife, I was like, you got to take me to the urgent care over here. And next thing I know, I'm in an ambulance for the first time, going up to the ER. And oh my God, I think I had 4 different IVs plugged into me over the course of the night.
Hey, Darren, did you see
Yeah.
Robert Meyer Burnett was trying to trigger you the other day?
No, I didn't see that. I mean, I might have, but I didn't. You know, I don't pay too much attention to him these days. But go ahead. What did
Well,
you say?
he tweeted out, "Let me be clear. I'm a pretty
Yeah.
tolerant dude, but
Yeah.
I draw the line at flat earthers."
Yeah, that's to be expected.
So then I put out my normal tweet about the hot dog earth, and he replied to me, "Imagine what you could do with that in a Dune popcorn bucket."
Now, the thing that I think I upset him the other day when he was bitching about a oil rig in, I think, the Black Sea or the Red Sea. I don't remember. I think it might have been the Black Sea, which is totally not in our part of the world, and it's not even like really all that well connected to the rest of the waterways in of the country. You know, about this you know, and how what a you know, what an ecological disaster it is. And I'm like, why is it an ecological disaster? The oil is just as natural as the water is. And all he could do was sputter and sput. He had no like cogent response to that. And you know, I think that might have put me on his shit list. I don't know, but
Well, maybe that's why he put out the flat earth thing. Who knows?
well, I don't broadcast that on my Twitter. Or
He
even-
has spies. He knows everything.
Oh, okay, he's one of those guys. All right. Yeah,
Oh,
'cause, I mean, I'm not an active FE'er at all. I mean, I made a couple of videos like 4 or 5 years ago on my channel, but since then it's been Star Trek mostly and a couple of other topics that are not related to cosmology. So I don't, yeah. So
I don't
think
know.
it was-
Maybe he got bored and went through your video collection. Who knows? I don't know.
I doubt it. I think that for a lot of people, you know, intellectual panty wastes like him and Elihu, who it just becomes a tick that they have. If nothing's going right, at least they can make fun of flat earthers, because
Mhm.
they're not bothering to inform themselves on the actual points that are made. But that's
I'm sticking with hot dog earth. Damn it!
everybody's got to have a scapegoat, I guess. But
I'm sticking with the hot dog earth. Damn it!
yeah.
Shaped like
So
a
we
hot
got
dog.
another assassination attempt I saw you started. I shouldn't
yeah.
say that on your channel. I should say something else.
Well, I said it already earlier when I first
Yeah,
started.
this is just
another,
like
another ass attempt. There you go.
Yeah, and it's love to see the mental gymnastics these leftists are trying to do. Well, it wasn't. He never even got off a shot, so it wasn't that. No, it was.
No, shots were fired, just not at Trump. But there was, apparently the way it was initially reported assassination attempt. Then CNN said, "Well, that was debunked. It was two people that happened to be fighting each other near him." And then it switched back to assassination attempt as more evidence came through. So I mean, you can see in real time the cope.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do. That's why I haven't even done a review about that one. I wanted to wait a few days, wait for some actual, decent information to come out, not do this knee-jerk thing. And I wonder if it was a Swifty fan.
No,
I don't think
this,
so.
this dude, this dude,
Yeah,
this dude actually went to Ukraine to try to join the fight, and they turned him down because he was too old and too mentally.
Yeah, I saw that. I was making a joke about that. I saw what he looked like. I was just making a reference to Taylor Swift endorsing Harris, and then Trump going on Truth Social to troll the left and be like, "I hate Taylor Swift," and then they just went nuts. I'm like, well, you guys don't know sarcasm worth a shit because you have no sense of humor because you knew it.
Yeah. It's called selective moral outrage. If anybody else had said that, like somebody that they prefer, like I don't know, Joy Reid, no issue at all. But
Joy Reid, all but after the first attempt on Trump, she was basically all but just trying to come out and say, "Well, it was staged."
Right.
I'm like, are you just that far gone? And that's stupid.
Yeah. Right. And again, whenever something happens like this, I never try to give an opinion like within the first 48 hours because that's usually not the period of time when we get all the facts. We have to wait, right? It's like when Benoit, Chris Benoit did his his heinous act. Everybody wanted to blame steroids, and I'm like, well, let's wait, and it had more to do with concussions than roid rage. But of course, the media had this narrative they wanted to plug right in about steroids, and they were just trying to plug it in, trying to force that round peg through a square hole, and then it took many weeks and months before they got a hold of his brain and got somebody to analyze it, and they said, yeah, he's had so many concussions, his brain looks like a 90-year-old Alzheimer's patient. It's got holes in it, and that sparked the whole concussion thing, which the media at the time did not want to push because that affected the NFL more so than professional wrestling, and they NFL generates a lot more revenue for the mainstream media than wrestling does, of course. So it was funny that way. But
the NFL tests for performance enhancers, though.
Oh, I'm sure they do. But it adversely, the concussion argument, which is what we were actually discussing, Teague, is what we were talking about, and that adversely affects the NFL more than it does professional wrestling.
I unfortunately am all too familiar with that. I lost a family member to that type of injury, and it's terrible. You end up with someone who's punch drunk. Sorry, I thought you'd been talking about performance enhancers. Hello, Deej. Thanks for letting me on.
No problem. I people have accused me of insanity. They asked me if I suffer from insanity. No, I quite enjoy it.
I was gonna say, if you weren't insane, you wouldn't be getting passes at your option to come on my show whenever you want.
Hey,
I know, and I fell asleep right after I got out that one stream.
You know what?
Sorry. This is what I like to say to people. They're like, "Are you insane?" I'm like, "No, the 12 other voices in my head are."
Wah, wah, wah.
Do you have a cricket sound effect? Cricket chirping sound effect?
No, I got rid of the sound effects because everybody used to bitch at me for playing the sound effects, so I got rid of them all.
Okay. All right. All right.
You know, I used to play the cricket one a lot and all that, but everybody yelled at me for it, so I got rid of it. I may bring it back though.
Okay. As long as you don't use it just for NB Geek, that's fine. Because he does provide zingers once in a while.
Oh yeah,
Once in a while.
I know I'm good at that at times. Well, somebody's going to insert their foot in their mouth. Might as well be me. I've been the butt of jokes for years. Why
At
stop
least
now?
it's just a foot, and it's not your butt.
Good
Come on
point.
now. This is how I brought him up on the
I grew up
panel.
on men.
So, you know, it's just
That's a gold little nugget, isn't
Yeah, that's an oldie but goodie.
I was like, wait a minute, we're all beaming away. What the fuck happened?
Yeah, I said that, and somebody was like, "Clip that." I was like, I didn't. And before they even said clip it, I just put my head down. I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna pay for that one."
The only way to get around that is to make it so, make it unfunny by taking the joke on yourself. Like, just record a version of yourself. It's raining men, and just upload it and like make it into a joke. Then it'll be that's the only way to get past that kind of thing.
You know, I hate how the gay community has taken ownership of It's Raining Men. You know, if you listen to the actual song, it's about women praising the presence of men in their lives.
It's CNC Music Factory's actual singers with Paul Schaefer.
Oh, wow. Didn't know that. But yeah, it's just kind
Paul
of like,
Schaefer
you know,
wrote that one.
Gotcha. Oh, Paul Schaefer, the guy from the David Letterman show?
Right, yeah. And
okay.
Blues Brothers too. If you follow the Blues Brothers path through the skits, he's their piano player until the movie. He's back in movie 2.
I'm actually glad you're here. I want to say something to you. The last time you and I shared any kind of space like this, I went kind of nuts on you. So I wanted to say I'm sorry about that.
You know what? It was a tough time for all of us. We'd lost a very good friend, and I can take it. Thanks for saying it. You're man enough. Thanks for being man enough to saying it. You really leveled up in my estimation. I thank you very much.
Yeah, that was a rough week, and for me, it was about 2 weeks because I didn't really get to deal with it until the second week. So.
Yeah, I didn't either, man. When I found out, I couldn't do anything until I couldn't start really mourning until that Thursday because I had so much shit going on, and I still got a ton of shit going on here right now.
I was very, very lucky in the sense of proximity. Although they did move it like 3 counties away, and it was a hike, I was able to get there myself, and I bought it. Not that it makes anything that it spreads any glory on me. I just did what people asked. I told them, the YouTube community missed him, and as I told his mother, Mom O'Prey, who first of all, introducing yourself as, "Hi, I'm Admiral Teague," and she's like, "I know who you are." That was weird. But then, like, when I told them who all of you guys were, she knew a little bit about every person. And then she took me on a short tour of Allbirds, Starfleet, Star Trek memorabilia. It was a Star Trek themed wake. And, when I took my leave of my friend, I did pray for him. And then I spoke the words from the original series, just very, very quietly, making sure no one was around to have me removed by the mental institution. But I felt like he would have appreciated a quick space to Final Frontier.
Yeah.
A little easier for me to deal with than the rest of you because of that. So I understand completely.
Yeah.
No, it's great. No, it's great that somebody was close enough to actually be able to go see her. I mean, shit, man. It was pain. I mean, come on, man. It was painful as fuck when we found out.
I'm of two minds.
Through a long goodbye.
Yeah.
Suffered through a long goodbye. I'm sorry, Garen. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying I'm of two minds on the whole thing because yes, I'm going to miss him a lot. He was a steady, elder statesman of our little community here, but at the same time, also human beings aren't meant to live the way he was living on here, and that's not his fault or anything. I'm just talking about his overall condition. I mean, to be restricted to a bed, and so I mean, he's.
If he had done it to himself, driving drunk and killed like a kid, we'd all be like, "Well, that's fate," but it wasn't fair at all.
No,
and the fact that he was able to remain productive and functional at all on any
He was
Yeah.
thriving in the toughest city to get by financially. Like, where was he going to go
yeah.
that cost more? He was,
Right.
and he always asked me like why I thought he was great when he openly called my show horrible. I was like, first of all, can you make a video about 10 minutes long unendorsing my show? And it's the only video I had that did better in one day was Outlaw Bill losing his absolute mind at the Acolyte. But we've got like 7 minutes of Bird of Prey 5, like Admiral Teague's ideas on Star Trek. They bother me. It's great. It's great. And like anyone else who doesn't like me could make a reel too. But like that was what Bird of Prey. And his mom was like, "You're the one he made that troll reel for. He had so much fun doing it," and that was the point, you know. And that was Bird of Prey 5. He was inside. He had enough joy to be at least even keeled through what went on.
Yeah, I always said he was kind of really one of the most inspirational for a lot of in the community and stuff because, you know, it's like some days you're sitting here. I would sit there some days and complain about something. I'm like, what the hell am I bitching about? One of my good friends has been bedridden since he got out of a coma, and he's got more joy in his heart than I ever could have. I'm like, I got nothing to bitch about at that moment.
Because it was such a mighty heart.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Lasted a lot longer than a lot of other people's would.
He should never have even come out of that coma if you think about it. But, you know, I can say that it meant there was a palpable impact on Mamo Prey when she heard that the YouTube community was you know, mourning him. And I guess later on she found out in full. If we only would have known, I guess I could have gone to the late session and been the cameraman and taken them out of it. But how weird that would have been for me to have to experience. So I'm glad it went the way it did.
Oh. You know, we're definitely going to miss, yeah. I mean, we are going to miss him. I feel he's at peace. If anybody's getting himself into heaven and riding in a Jeep, it's going to be him.
You know,
he's finally getting that
Shadow Prey now.
Well, that and he's finally getting his Frank and Freddie concert live.
There you go. Oh,
you
shit.
Guys,
now, shit. Now I think about it, he'll get to see Freddie Mercury too.
That's why I said Frank and Freddie.
Having drinks right now. Yeah, I just wish I could have taken you all with me into that room so you could have felt like the support and the love. Mamo Prey, Far From Alone. I mean, no one was happy, but Mamo Prey, Far From Alone, that family far from disunited. They were all pulling together. You know, you weren't happy to lose your friend, but when you saw that it was a best case for that, I will admit that I did feel better, and I felt better for her. So I don't think she's going to be alone, and I don't think she's going to be, you know, isolated from her family. I think they're taking a strong interest in making sure she's all right. She was there with them every minute. So
was sis and nephew over there?
They were, but I chose not to bother them.
I understand.
The only person who really then, and here's the thing: the reason I talked to the mother more than anyone else is it was a Catholic kind of wake. So at those sort of things, someone usually steps up and is more of the greeter and more of the person who does the social stuff, so that someone like your mother can have casual conversations with other people and be a little more, you know, at ease. So it was the early viewing. People were not as emotional yet. Mamo Prey was very well centered and oriented. She was quite calm. She was sad, but she was quite calm. She had, you know, the same look of relief that I've seen on the face of relatives of family members who've been through this sort of terrible suffering. I mean, the man did suffer. She was happy he wasn't suffering, but she wasn't joyful. It's hard to really quantify it, but she was proud to show off his Star Trek stuff, and she's like, "Wow, you came all the way here from Queens," and she appreciated the comment. It's the least I could do for a fellow Starfleet officer, and it meant something to her. She spoke Star Trek.
Yeah.
And come on, we did the most perfect tribute to Bird over on Mr. Londell's channel by suffering through Crystal Skull, since I forced him to have to suffer through it.
It's still not the worst Indiana Jones movie, but that's bad.
Gorilla thinks that he's haunting me right now for rigging that vote. Thomas says he's going to haunt me.
He doesn't haunt. He apparates. He's not. He's gone to another dimension. It's not a haunting when it's really him. He can apparate in front of us, and he disappears like that chick from TOS. He just turns into like a line that resolves into a dot that goes away.
Well, I have a cure. Nobody ever haunts me, and do you know how I solve that problem?
You're annoying.
No, I sit around in my underwear when I'm at home. Who
Oh,
in
yeah,
their right
that'll
mind
work.
would haunt me?
So that's why I'm
Yeah.
safe.
Yeah.
I mean, who gets dressed anymore, right? I mean,
I know, man. It's like you just throw a shirt on. Nobody ever knows anything what's below
Right.
you unless you stand up.
Yeah,
Dressing is for salad.
it's so amazing how life has changed since I started, working from home a few years ago. Before COVID, I mean, I'm down to like, a shower every other day instead of 2 a day, and my pants are always, clean and ready to go if I have to leave.
Because they're never used.
Because
I
I
haven't-
got a pair of shorts, but I mean, it's like,
I hear you. It's like the shorts you wore the night before. You toss them on the couch. You go to bed, and you're like, they're probably still okay. They've been airing out for like 9 hours. I can put it back on.
yeah.
Who
I
the
know
hell
you-
sleeps for 9 hours?
Who the hell
Yeah.
can?
I'm counting the half hour to get to sleep and the half hour to get yourself across the room.
Oh yeah,
I
there's
didn't
that.
say sleep. I just said the shorts are off.
Hell, I can't stay longer in bed than 6 hours.
I'm part Vulcan and part Denobulan, so I can sleep for up to 2 weeks at a time every 2 years.
Gotcha.
Well, unfortunately, I haven't slept very well in the last couple weeks. Some people know my son's in a mental hospital right now,
Oh dear.
so
I didn't do it.
I know you didn't do it. No, it's
Um,
it's been rough around here since April. My son's shut down, and fucking A, man.
So
It just
is that a son through marriage or is it a
no,
biological?
this is my son.
Okay.
And he just one day shut down completely. I've never seen anything like it in my life.
Like catatonic comatose kind of thing.
Just dead stare.
Oh wow.
Dead stare, quiet. It was so we tried to get help, and it was always the same stupid answer. No, can't come out. You got to take him to the ER. You got to take him to the ER. You got to take him to the ER. And like,
Right.
he's 17 years old and can outrun anybody in this house. If that kid, and I'm like, I'm on medications. I've had massive anxiety and panic attacks since all this stuff started again. I had to double up on meds. I'm like, how the hell am I going to hold him down? With that, and then I was like, as some of y'all know, I've been arrested about a dozen times. So forgive me if going back in handcuffs for not the fun way is not something I'm looking forward to again.
Mhm.
So, but
Yosef's
The
in the
hack-
chat. He said, going back to the sleep part, he said, get a 1-year-old and talk about sleep. Hey, Yosef, you were half you were half the problem there. You helped create that.
That's
So
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about you not getting sleep. I mean, yesterday I got
Yeah.
really annoyed at Walmart because this big dude with a big beard is carrying a baby on his chest in one of those little pouch things where you put the kid in front of you.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking to myself, well, A, this crying is getting really annoying. I need to get the hell out of here. And I said, B, poor kid probably thinks the dude's going to eat him.
NB, I'm just thinking the hack here to maybe get them to help you out without creating an added level of danger is to just imply he hasn't taken in any liquid in 2 days, because dehydration is like a first aid emergency that they can't blow off, and they wouldn't send a cop. You know what I mean? That might be the hack. Like, he hasn't drank any water in 2 days. I think he's gonna, he might be dehydrated. This is dangerous.
No, there were a lot of things. There were a lot of things. I'm not going to go on all the details, but
I wasn't talking about telling the truth. I just what you could have done.
no. I'm just saying.
Force the hand of the ambulance.
Last week, let's just say something happened last week where it was like, one way or another, you're going to the ER, and we were able to get the deputy out. And he said, "Look, you're either going with your mom or you're going with me."
It's probably better that he be there than
No, absolutely. No, trust me. He's
I'm
getting
sorry.
some help. He's been there a little over a week now. We're just right now today. We're waiting on an update.
If he's been there a week, I would imagine it'll take probably just about one more week for any kind of medication and stuff to start to really take effect.
Well,
but some stuff like calming stuff they're gonna have to change it a few times, but don't fear that because the wrong medication is probably as bad or worse than unmedicated.
Oh, trust me, I know.
Yeah, if you give someone who's spin up pills, it'll be even worse. So he's in the best possible place. I'm very sorry that you had to go through it, and it took a lot of courage for you to help him.
Oh, thank you, man. Appreciate it. Let's talk about something else.
Yeah, let's talk about how Yosef's
the Jets won.
The
Jets won.
Oh, fuck the Jets. Let's
But
talk
it's
about how
news.
Yosef said it was barely involvement because they only lasted like 5 minutes.
Did anybody see that Section 31?
Fuck
trailer?
no.
That thing looks
we
so
don't-
goddamn generic.
We don't watch that crap around here.
I know. I just
given
saw
up
the
on all that
trailer.
crap.
I watched
only.
only the trailer, and this is what I'm going to tell you. One, the beginning of the trailer where she's dancing around in the lights, that's left over from when they tried to get that show the first time 16 years ago. So she's like 37 in that video where you see her dancing around looking cute. Super old raisin head is what you really get. It's not a Trek movie or a Michelle Yeoh movie. She starts out, smiles at the camera. We flash back in time. She's completely recast as a younger character. The whole thing takes place in the mirror universe. Then we go a time traveling to contaminate every other single Star Trek timeline so that they can't sell the licenses. And if everybody loves New Trek and this company, Paramount, needs money, and we know they did, why didn't they release a finished movie? Because it was brand damaging, and their commercial, when they ended the ownership and went to the next ownership, their goodbye, farewell commercial had nothing but William Shatner Star Trek. So I think the Paramount people suppressed that movie, and they're just going to throw it to new owners like, do what you want, but this thing's poison. I've heard the buyout's prohibitive, but it might at this point be worth it. Part with the 125 million. No. You would have to buy it back from Kurtzman to get him out of his license. He has 4 or 5 more years where it's weird. He has to sell his Star Trek too. They sold him a license, according to what I was told, that he can make the Star Trek, and if they like it, they buy it back from him. So he has the right to market that to other people until a certain amount of time goes by. And they're sitting on that Section 31 movie, I think, to get outside 8 years from Star Trek Beyond, because then they'll lose their movie rights. They don't want that movie out. It's only Secret Hideout trying to release it. Paramount Corporation has nothing to do with this PR. Nothing.
Really?
Nothing to do with it all. You can't sell a brand-destroying movie to make money at the end while you're trying to sell your brand. That's like, I set my house on fire, so buy it now.
I blame you, geek, for bringing this up.
Hey, man, I got taught a lot of knowledge about what's going on. I've been kind of staying out of the loop on
We
that.
can break it off right there because there's nothing more to tell.
I don't
honestly.
even get into the loop anymore because I don't want to talk about it because it's all brain damaging garbage.
Breaking news, we won't be having any more New Trek watch parties on my channel because it's all brain damaging garbage like Deeds just said. Fuck that shit. Fuck them. They're not Star Trek anyway. I have a Star Trek channel.
I'd rather go back and watch Galactica 80. God damn it.
Oh, no. You went there?
Hell
BSG
yeah, I went there.
2.0 for me. BSG 2.0 is the best non-Star Trek show.
Yes. Definitely.
I will watch Galactica 80 over any of the new Treks, so suck it.
Yeah.
Zabiar was a great villain. We just never got to find out what he could do.
You know, I
mean,
dig those
potential.
flying motorcycles. You some bitches.
I like how the advancement in technology went from only one person needed to fly a Viper to two, and only three Cylons needed to fly a Raider to like 12. At some point, everybody's tech went backwards in Galactica 1980.
In 80,
No,
in
go ahead
1980,
to 80 was
Yeah,
still only 3 Cylons in there. They had the 2 Centurions
They
and
had
1
9.
human form Cylon.
I think they might have had more, but the thing is, we had Vipers with a bitch seat.
Well,
It wasn't
supposedly,
geez, wasn't it
supposedly
80?
some Vipers you could fit 2 people in. After
The
that
only-
beginning part, they went back to solo pilots and Vipers.
yeah,
We
the
never
only,
found
the
out
only,
about
the only, the
County
only,
They owed us that.
Yeah.
Sorry, Darren.
the only moment I remember in Galactica 80 was the Chips reference, where 2 California Highway Patrol, Chips were chasing the low rent Starbuck and Apollo, and they took
Foxy
off. They,
2.0.
yeah, and their bikes took off into the sky, and then the 2 Chips guys look at each other and go, "That never happens to those other guys,"
I like
Well,
the one funny scene I remember out of that was the first one when they finally get to Earth, and then they're looking at it and they have no fucking idea what's going on, and then they're like, okay, we found out they suck at technology, they're behind in technology, they're inferior to us, and then
They say
Yeah,
we're
the
doomed.
discount-
The first thing they say is we're doomed. They're like, they use internal combustion engines. They'll be gone in 30 years.
Yeah, but they were impressed on how they drove down the highway systems. They
but I
were
like how
impressed.
I like how when
Yeah, they
Discount, Starbuck, and Apollo are going, and he goes, "Oh, what do you think, man? The United States of America. That sounds interesting. That sounds amazing." He goes, "I don't know. I kind of like that Union of Soviet Socialist." He's,
Yeah.
he talked about the USSR, and he's like, "I always liked unions."
I would love to see it be like, Islamic State. They sound good. Let's join them. We'll give them our power and tech.
The
line
problem,
I
the
remember-
biggest
sorry.
The biggest problem with Galactica 80 was when they went on that stupid space scouts crap.
I liked the part where they were fish out of water. It worked here and there. When they run into the designated hot chick who's going to be our TNA girl for 1988, is she a reporter or a ufologist, like chasing UFOs or something?
She was a reporter.
And she wanted money to make a phone call. And the line is absolutely hilarious. She goes, "I need a dime." And they look at each other, and then one of them whips out like basically a smartphone,
Yeah,
types in what she said, and he looks back up and goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, we just spent our last denomination of currency."
I do remember that part.
It wasn't like it was a terrible show. It was just that the previous show didn't give us enough to go on. We fast forwarded. There's a whole show that takes place between the 2 shows. We needed to know who Count Ibley was. They feel like that was all like almost blatant JJ Hood at the end of their show. It's like there's 7 huge mysteries burning at once, and they're like, "All right, so we'll fast forward to the end of one mystery and blow the other 6 off."
Well, I think they were hoping for more seasons so they could drop those other
They
stories
made
in.
it 4 episodes. They didn't get a season. That
And
Galactica 1980 was massively rejected.
And all we got was Starbuck fell in love with a pregnant chick and had a Cylon as a buddy.
Yeah, that was the only really good episode, and they did
Oh,
that. I
bullshit.
believe,
I call bullshit. We
No,
had
I said that was
2
real-
episodes with Wolfman Jack, you some bitch.
Okay,
When
Even
Adama
though-
died.
okay. we have
Death of
to-
Adama.
But then again, that was kind of stupid also because we just had to turn on a microwave oven to decapitate and end a Cylon Centurion. That's all
It
we needed
almost
was a
makes
microwave
sense.
oven.
It almost makes sense that it would scramble their brain, but yeah, I mean, at least there was cocaine on the set. We had Wolfman. It's like the least surprising
Yeah,
news story. I'm not celebrating this. It's been enough time for everyone to be okay with it. 40 or so years ago, when we got the news, Wolfman Jack dead of a heart attack at just 48 years old. I'm like, that's not unexpected. It's sad, but it's not unexpected. He's been wired every time I've seen this guy for 10 years.
Yeah. But I mean, the whole problem was when they did the first Battlestar Galactica, when they just didn't get the money in the budget for the next one, and wasn't
I don't know if that excuses sloppy, inconsistent
I'm not saying
episodes
it
that make no
excuses
sense
it,
in
but
the
it's
first episode. In
okay. Well,
the first season, there's whole weeks at a time where it didn't make sense or it wasn't that good. It was a
yeah, I
fun
understand
idea.
that. Yeah, I understand that they were trying to figure out a new way to go forward, and they had to put it on Earth because they had to lower the budget down.
I'm
Because
talking like the first iteration, like with like full priced Starbuck and full price Apollo.
yeah,
That show has whole like 4 and 5 episodes in a row where it's just like you could forget about having any fun. It was no good at all. One thing they started to pull off that was cool was like Turncoat Baltar, but at that point their show is too far gone. They don't get the next season, but there was an interesting story. They spent a lot of time on uninteresting stories. Of all the Battlestar Galactica episodes that stick out from the first season, I'm going to say Starbuck marooned on a planet that's like the Old West was great. And the planet of people who had to be imprisoned from the crimes of their parents. Those were the two I remember. Everything else pretty forgettable.
I'm going to be honest, man. I have not watched the original Battlestar Galactica, in probably 25 years. I wasn't really that interested in it that much. I was still very much doing well. Let's put it this way: I was like 1 year old when 80 came out, so the only time I watched Battlestar Galactica and 80 was in syndication.
I see the problem I had. The biggest problem I had with Battlestar Galactica, they're fleeing the Cylons who want to wipe out all of humanity. Except they keep running into these damn planets that have humans on it.
Yeah,
They
the
interfere with
Cylons
the
ain't after
planets.
them. Yeah.
And they just keep going and leave these little planets to fend for themselves. Like the planet that was going to nuke itself. And the Galactica sat up there and shot down all the nukes that were going at each other. But then they just leave them behind for the Cylons to find to wipe out themselves.
And now they have no nukes. Yeah. But I remembered another one. Space is infinite, vast, with literally any direction to go in. But the plot of one episode was they had just had to pass by a planet that had the stupidest thing you could have in space, a fixed fortification that was meant to guard, I guess, some vast empty stretch of space, and it had like a Death Star gun on it. And they had to go down there and sabotage it. And it was like a ripoff of the Dirty Dozen, Gun on Ice Planet Zero, 2-parter.
Yeah, like I said, I don't remember that much about the show.
The concept is so stupid. Think about it. Like we could just fly around that planet.
Now, Babylon 5, absolutely love that show.
We'll go
CGI
past the planet on the night side when the gun is facing towards the sun. It's just so dumb.
Yeah, I'll stick with Babylon 5 too, because it was way better. And it's the original, it's not the knockoff Deep Space Nine.
We're talking a difference of 5 weeks.
I don't know. I prefer the Orville.
Well, I think a lot
Truer
of
words have not been spoken.
Well, one of the things about the Orville was just how, how they had in Star Trek. I always called Orville, it's Star Trek without the stick shoved up there. Because, you had all that humor, but, like the kids going in, sneaking into a room that has a replicator so they can get alcohol. I'm like, yes, that is what somebody would do. Holodeck. Yeah, you're doing porn on the holodeck. Yes, I'm like, this is
I like that they all smoke weed to calm down too.
Yeah.
Just like out of nowhere.
Yeah, Mercer and his ex-wife are in a shuttlecraft, and she goes to the wall replicator and gets a cannabis brownie. And I'm like, what?
Right, they do it as an edible because smoking's like a no-no on TV. They still do it, though.
You had the Bortos got addicted to cigarettes episode, which I still think is one of my favorite ones. But
That's not a no. That's not a no though, because the whole point of the episode was not to smoke. That's how you're allowed to address those issues.
Yeah.
That's the only way you're allowed to address those issues.
Yeah, but
that's
damn,
why
that
we
was
got
a
the
fun
famous.
episode.
Well, that's how we get the famous drugs can make you feel good. Like that was like a $200,000 tax break. And if you watch that segment, it is exactly 3 commercials long. It's 90 seconds and isolated from everything else.
I just thought it was interesting how, as resistant as Mocklins are, that they get very addicted to cigarettes.
Claire says it's only cigarettes. She says the nicotine is particularly addicted to them.
Yeah, because we saw their planet. There's smoke everywhere. And so they would have been inhaling it anyway, but it was the nicotine that they were sensitive to. So yeah,
I love when they're scolding them. When they're scolding them like children, they're like, "It's going to take me 2 weeks to figure out a way to get you some kind of patch to get off of this." And like the captain's like, "It's not even an option that you continue to smoke, and you're off duty until we get you off these things."
But yeah, we can eat weed.
I do prefer the funny Orville over the attempt at doing a more serious Orville. I think what happened there was Seth thought, here's my chance to actually do a more authentic Star Trek like show, and it happened, but at the same time that Strange New Worlds and some slightly better Secret Hideout material was coming out, and I think that a lot of people by that point just wanted the laughs to come back. There were very few funny parts in that 3rd season of Orville, and that's what everybody was expecting. And
I like that it felt just like Trek, though.
They took the what do you want to call it? The what some people call the socialist aspects of Star Trek, and they amped it up to a point where I didn't like a lot of the episodes just for that, and there isn't a single standout episode that I enjoyed from the 3rd season.
I would say
Time Travel Planet, the people who worship the Kelly, they had a good episode.
The episode where they rescue
Malloy.
Oh shit.
Malloy had a family.
No,
and
not
everything.
Malloy. Not Malloy.
Okay.
The episode of New Horizons. The Mocklins kid got.
I hate those episodes the most. And you know what? They're done to be woke, and he's not doing as good a job on those as the other ones. The first Topa about a girl, there's no B plot at all. It's Topa, 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 Topa. And it gets to the point where even if it was a Star Trek worthy idea, they did it to death in episode 1. And then in episode 2, everyone has to be a moron for it to work. It's like Ed and Kelly break every rule of the Planetary Union. After he's taken so much pains to show that they're more military than the new Trek people, they pull that move. The 2 Topa episodes, whatever he was trying to say, they're sloppy. Those episodes suck.
No,
Well,
I was actually referring to the 3rd season with Topa when they are rescuing Topa.
They let her go to a planet alone, unaccompanied, and she gets kidnapped, predictably so. And they broke their own military protocol to do it, though. I mean, that's
I'm still going to put it out there in case PJ is listening, or in case PJ goes back and listens to this. I still say there will not be a fourth season of the Orville. I do not believe it. I don't care how many of the actors say something to that effect that there will be. Until I see them actually filming it, I do not believe there will be a 4th season.
Well,
so
how
say
long
we
did it
all
take between season 2 and season 3 when they moved it from Fox to Hulu and Disney's acquisition. What was that, like 2 years we waited?
He made 2 feature films, though. His focus was elsewhere.
I understand that, but I mean, it was just, we had to wait a lot of years. And then, I still think it was a very good, I actually thought it was a very solid season. I very much enjoyed it.
Well, you're
and
woke.
I did not agree it was woke.
That's what a wokey would say.
I'm not. Oh, for God's sakes!
It's funny. It's funny because
Admiral, have you heard my political stances?
You know, a story
Come on,
that
come on.
happened.
Anyway, bro, I'm not getting into it.
My
Let me go
political
in there.
stance is Divine's political stance from Pink Flamingos. Kill everyone now.
Here's Geek's political stance.
I grew up on men.
There we go. We got it right there.
There we go.
The story a few years ago when Disney acquired Fox Entertainment Division was that one of the things that they wanted to do, because Joss Whedon hadn't been yet completely destroyed by the Me Too movement, was they were looking at Firefly and throwing a bunch of money at that for him to do some kind of sequel or continuation to compete with Paramount Plus and Star Trek, because it was clear that Star Wars wasn't that competition. And then as soon as almost right before they acquire Fox, all of a sudden Joss Whedon's become poison, and so they wouldn't dare do it.
He came back from his Me Too. Like, they kept his Me Too really vague to make him look worse. When you looked at it, his Me Too was a little bit creepy in the sense that, like, they put in there that, like, it would involve children. So right away, one thing, but when I finally was able to pierce the veil, these are his Me Too offenses. One, he cheated on his wife, to which I say, big fucking deal. That's not a Me Too thing. I mean, I don't care.
The point was to talk about Firefly rather than Joss Whedon's Me Too.
The thing, he was not able. He was not. Yeah, I get that. I'm saying he was not able to come back off Me Too Island because did you see the things he said when he came back? He just went back to war with everybody, and then he said a bunch of insane things in his own defense, like, "I didn't do anything wrong to the children except scream and yell at them." It's like, dude.
Which,
why did you say that?
Yeah,
it's not like it's not exactly what we thought it was compared to what it was implied. It is actually no big deal, but like the thing was, they had to, like, he treated child actors the way he treated adult actors. He's like demanding a good performance and yelling at them for the third mistake when you can't do that to children. So his Me Too was not allowed alone with the children. Someone had to be there to calm him down in case he started shouting. And cheating on your wife is not putting down all women. It's just when he came back off the island, he sounded like such an asshole, and he went after the left and he went after the right. He went after the right really hard.
Yeah,
he got recanceled. Well, he got recanceled for simply being a boring dick.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, he created something that was actually that people wanted to see. A lot of people wanted to see more of, but not enough people, went to see Serenity. So it was, one of those situations where
too much of Serenity was already aired, right? It was sabotaged that way.
No, Serenity was the movie. Nobody went and saw.
Wasn't
Serenity.
some of it on? Wasn't the first little bit of it from the show?
No.
No.
They started
Somebody
making
got a good
Serenity
rumor
about
out
a year and a half after Firefly went away. But the thing is, he created such an interesting, environment for stories to be told in that people have been trying to get back to that. You had a lot of New Zealand fan films that were pretty interesting. There was even a video game that they were talking about doing, kind of like a Red Dead Redemption kind of thing, where you build your ship and everything, and then of course Starfield came out and kind of killed that idea. But
feel bad for the actor, the captain. Whatever happened to him, huh?
Well, no, he's playing Guy Gardner Green Lantern in the new Spider-Man movie or Superman movie.
He also had like a 20-year series where he made lit money, right?
Yeah, Castle. He was in a show called Castle, and every once in a while, when there was
they
an
make
episode
a Josh Whedon reference.
Yeah, he comes out. His character from Castle is dressed up like Malcolm Reynolds, and they said, "What are you supposed to be?" He goes, "I'm a space cowboy." And he goes, "Didn't that go out of fashion like 4 or 5 years ago?" And he goes, "I know, but I still like it." And then he takes it off and goes back to being,
We've got an important question here from the chat. Thomas Potts says, "Why is Disney blamed for horrible MCU movies, but don't get credit for good ones?" What
Paramount made the good ones. Paramount made the good ones.
They did make good ones, but they don't anymore. And so they
good ones.
The only good MCU movie that's come out in the last few years is Deadpool, and Ryan Reynolds had pretty much all control over that. Disney had nothing to do with that.
They
I
they
would
made
say-
good ones. They made good ones up until pretty much Infinity War, and then after that,
But that's
you know, and they got their praise back then. But the problem is,
right.
we're not going to continue to praise them for movies we've already praised them for 10 years ago. In order
Here's
to
the thing,
continue
up
to get
until
praise, you got to continue to kick ass, and they haven't been doing that.
Yeah, don't tell me what
There's-
you did. Tell
there's
me
a
what you're gonna
chance-
do.
there's a chance now. Here's what happened. The Paramount writers start this, and it's Paramount up until Avengers 1 is the first Disney movie. Disney doesn't do much except back these already finished scripts, and some of these movies are, quote, in the pipeline. So the first thing that we get that's a Disney original MCU movie is Captain Marvel. So do with that what you may. But the last movie written by the last movie written by the Paramount people was Infinity War, and but they're bringing them back. They all walked because they didn't want to do the woke stuff. Only Feige has been there from the beginning, and even he has proven to be less of an idiot than Kathleen Kennedy. He snapped out of it. He finally said a few normal things. Well, we'll see if it holds, but that's Paramount made the good movies.
Well,
And No Way Home again was not really Disney having much to do with it or anything else.
No,
It was
Sony had
and-
control of the
So-
problematic stuff. They weren't allowed to fuck shit up. Sony put their foot down a few times.
So that's why that one was good.
Well, think about it. You've got two
Half
other
of it's good.
Spider-Men, and you have people who've been wanting to, because you had Spider-Man 3 and Amazing Spider-Man 2, and it's kind of like, okay, we kind of got left hanging here with these two guys. And it's like, you were not fucking it because everybody was worried. Are they
Thank
gonna
God
fuck
on
it?
Amazing Spider-Man, though. That was an Alex Kurtzman project, and he only wanted Spider-Man to kill him to make Spider-Gwen. Look at the path of those movies. Trying to kill Spider-Man, and he creates Spider-Gwen at the end of movie 2. And the writers are like, we don't want a Spider-Gwen movie. And he's like, you weren't even licensed for that. You're off your license again, which he always does. And that's why the plug got pulled on TASM. Plus, the movies, aside from Andrew Garfield's performance, suck.
I liked Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. He was the first Spider-Man I'd ever
He
seen
was
or
good.
listened
The
to.
movies suck.
He was the first Spider-Man I ever listened. He was the first Spider-Man I'd ever seen or listened to that sounded like he was actually from New York. Usually they make him sound like he's from the Midwest, like me or something. And it's like,
I agree.
yeah,
I agree.
he doesn't sound like New Yorker.
Yeah,
Make
that's
Spider-Man
good point, 'cause
and a
it's
New
not-
Yorker again.
Yeah, if you're gonna have somebody play Spider-Man, you do need to have him get the Queen's accent.
Holland doesn't even try, but he does sound undeniably American.
What do you mean he doesn't try? His normal accent is British.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Of
well,
course
no,
he's
what I'm
trying.
saying is he doesn't go for New York. He goes for neutral
Right.
American, and he pulls it off.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying is I did say you always think he's an American.
Cumberbatch is the same
Spider-Man
way.
should
and
Cumberbatch has had
Cumberbatch
to give his American
He-
accent's in question to me.
Well, to
Hey,
me, his Doctor Strange one is fine. It's when he tries to do sub-dialects, like, New England accents and things, that he stumbles.
I thought he was terrible as Doctor Strange and Mom. I thought it was inconsistent. He was losing the ability to do the accent as the movie went on, but there's 2 years of reshoots. But that's neither here nor there. He's gone back to doing the American accent. He himself says that when he does American accent, he has to stay method the whole time and only talk as an American. So when they say cut and they're like, "Do you want some water?" He's like, "Yeah, I want some water." Trying to doing his best. But he has work to do on his American accent. Again, it slipped on him. It slipped on him.
Hey, speaking of that, when I was watching House back when that was on, and when oh god, I can't remember his name. Who was
Hugh Laurie?
Yeah, Hugh Laurie, and he came in and basically pulled off an American because he's British. I didn't even know that until I heard his actual real accent. I was like, holy shit, he was so
Yeah,
good
he's
at it.
super British.
Because
Well, come on.
oh yeah, I know. But what he did was when he went in, his accent was so great that the casting, the creator of the show was like, that's an American right there. I mean, he pulled it off,
but
so
not
well.
a gut. But it was a terrible New Jersey.
Come on,
The guy-
there are British actors that can pull off good American accents. Look at
yeah.
Lenny
Bob
James.
Hoskins.
Lenny
Bob
James.
Hoskins, yeah.
Lenny James, that was on Jericho and The Walking Dead. You'd never know he was British by the way you listen to him on the screen.
He was the lead, wasn't he, in Walking Dead?
No,
He was the lead.
That
Wasn't he the sheriff guy that
no,
the main
Lenny
character-
James is not the sheriff. Lenny
You're
James is
thinking of
the,
Andrew Lincoln.
Yeah,
yeah,
you're
Andrew
thinking
Lincoln's the head. Lenny James is the guy that Andrew Lincoln met in the first episode, the
Black
black guy.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Because they both pulled it off for me. I was shocked when the lead from Walking Dead gave an interview, and it was like, he was all Londoner,
Well, half of
Heard
that
him
cast
mess up in
because
the show.
Maggie is.
And Maggie, yeah, I've heard Maggie fuck up her accent and sound British for long periods of time.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Henry
I mean,
Cavill does a
if
pretty
you're a
good
good
one, too.
actor, I gotta be honest. I mean, let's think about it. Pulling off a Jersey accent or one of the boroughs accents, man, that takes a lot of work because it's not just the how it's said. You got to get the mannerisms down.
Yeah, you have to be from there almost. It's like the Sopranos cast.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Cavill is very good. He actually, his American accent as Superman and Clark Kent is very different from the one he did as Napoleon Solo in Man from U.N.C.L.E. And I was very impressed with that, how he was able to get that nuance.
I was so pissed they screwed up The Witcher, and I know that wasn't anything his fault because he was like, that's why he left, because he's like, fuck this. I said stay to the story.
Right. But his accent in The Witcher was basically his accent just amped up.
Yeah.
But
I still like the show, and but I mean, he does pretty good with an American accent, depending on where it is. I mean, I have a Midwestern accent. Deej pretty much has a Midwestern accent. And where are you from?
I'm sorry, what?
I was asking the
You mean me? You know what? I think everyone has heard me say it, but I don't have the accent. It was so impenetrable that the accent that I had was so impenetrable when as a kid, my parents had to take me for speech lessons.
He's from New Jersey.
But I'm from New York City. I'm from Queens. Jersey's
Okay.
30 miles away, but yeah, we have about the same accent. I'm not going to be total Henry Higgins here. The different borough accents have gone away. There's a rich person accent from Manhattan, but that's not a Manhattan accent. The Manhattan accent is like Urbanics. New Jersey, though, like Joe Pesci speaks like a guy from South Jersey. That is a little bit different. Boston is a little bit different than New York, too. And that's also like a very similar accent. Everyone in the Northeast, I heard some linguists theorize that these are the British accents and we have inherited them and we are the ones who sound like 18th century British people. They don't. The people of England expanded and went to colonialists, which still doesn't make sense because we have so many people come here. I don't know about that theory, but if you listen to people from Boston, it might be true.
No, it's interesting you brought that up, Tig, because I saw a video talking about the accent.
I'm Cuban.
The accent.
Close. You're close.
Sorry. The accents stemmed from our original British, and then if you actually were going through it, it was talking about how all our accents kind of changed and which ones is actually the closest to the original British accent. And they said,
our original Dutch. So that's why the New York accent might be the outlier there.
That's probably that. Well, yeah, the Dutch did have it when it was New Amsterdam.
That lasts like 85 to 100 years.
Then I had to change the name to New York. I liked Amsterdam better.
It makes it sound like I can get weed there.
It doesn't,
but then we wouldn't have the future where we'd have New York.
Yeah.
Well, there is that. I guess.
By the way,
you
you can get weed here now. It's been legal since, like, I know we don't like him, but like when Cuomo was in trouble and like literally on fire for one terrible thing after another. And by the way, they never threw the real charges at him, getting all those people killed from COVID with this stupidity. But when we finally got rid of him, one of the things he did trying to keep in office was he was throwing down a series of flashbangs. It was laws that had been sitting around for years that everybody wanted, but no one would sign. And like the end of Cuomo it did some good. It's like, I am going to mandate that all road work be done at night. Boom. And it's like, oh my God, we've been wanting that for years. And it only makes sense. And then like, weed should be legal. Bang. And it's like, all right, he can be mayor for 2 more days or governor for 2 more days.
Yeah. I did like that the Planetary Union Fleet headquarters was in New York instead of San Diego.
Is San Diego the real Navy and San Francisco Starfleet?
Well, San Diego is the home of the Pacific Fleet. You know, so Norfolk, Virginia is the Navy's home for the Atlantic Fleet, and then you've got other places obviously, but yeah, I just like the choice of New York, and I like that when they took advantage of that, like when they took what are those bad guys, the Krell, when they took the Krell ambassador to a Broadway musical. That's what you do when you visit New York. I thought that was a fun way of demonstrating, yes, they're in New York.
And they accidentally insult them because it's Annie, which is the worst play.
Well, they misinterpreted the intent of the sun will come out tomorrow. So
Actually, I do got to agree. It's really not a great play.
Yeah. It's a terrible play.
I like that
Annie is not worse than Cats.
Annie is not worse than Cats, but both of them are plays for people who don't like plays or don't understand Broadway. Annie, you don't have a musical sung by children who scream in a shrill voice for 2 hours. That sucked. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It does.
Look, I was there in the '80s when Cats became debuted, and it was all the rage for over a decade. I think that the problem we now have with Cats is because we have changed. The average person in 1980 knew nothing about furries. But now, thanks to exposure through the internet, that's all people think about now when they see Cats.
I love the excuse for the Cats movie when they pulled it out of theaters. They were like, the CGI rendering wasn't finished. And they're like, what did you not do? They're like, the cats need assholes or people won't be like oriented enough to tell. And I'm like, that is not why this movie is terrible. I've seen a few minutes of their commercial. There's other reasons this movie is terrible. But Cats is for people who don't like Broadway and don't understand plays because there's no story, just a bunch of songs, right? And then Annie is bad Broadway for people who don't understand plays and don't like Broadway because what is it? You go to Broadway to hear people sing and dance. So what do? You take a bunch of children and you have them shriek and try to dance. So it's like unsuccessful singing, unsuccessful dancing, designed to look bad. That's why the movie with Cameron Diaz is a singing, dancing Miss Hannigan, where it was like the only white person in the cast, the Black Annie movie, which was just strange and bizarre. It didn't work either because they all failed. Singing, dancing Miss Hannigan with Cameron Diaz isn't crazy because the whole thing is off the wall. Did Carol Burnett make more sense? Only nominally because it's such an off the wall bad idea. And that's why it works. People come to New York who've never seen a play and they're like, oh, Annie, I'll see that. There's tickets available.
Right.
The tickets are available for a reason.
Yeah.
But you know
like
no Thomas Potts. No.
Darren, you'll appreciate this. You'll appreciate this one, Darren. So you know what I did the other day? I went down to the Winter Garden Theater and I demanded to see Cats, and they told me that another play was playing there now. And I said, now and forever means now and forever. You go put on a production of goddamn Cats for me right now, or you'll be in court. So we'll see how that works out. And also, I got my ticket for Neverending Story 1. I'm going to go see Neverending Story 4 because technically the story's still going and I paid to see it.
Yeah.
That's false advertisement because that story ended.
Yep.
One of the first plays I got to go to as a kid was my grandma took me, and it was in St. Louis because that's where I'm originally from. And we saw Jekyll and Hyde, and man, I was just so blown away. I mean, I was maybe 10, 11 years. I think it was like maybe 10, 12. I don't remember exactly. I just remember being blown away by the production, the acting, and I think we were in Act 2 or 3, and my grandmother comes up in my ear and just whispers that, that person dies real soon. And I looked dead at her, and I almost yelled at my grandmother. I was like, "No, but thank you for spoiling it for me."
Hey, at least you went to go see something decent. High school, I was forced to go watch goddamn Sound of Music.
I don't.
I
think my
still have
parents
never
knew what
seen
their-
that.
I saw that one, but I saw it with Julie Andrews at the Jones Beach Theater out at the edge of the ocean, which was weird. But I don't think that my uncle knew what he was getting into when we went to see the Sherlock Holmes play on Broadway, which is the first play I ever saw, called Crucifer of Blood. I don't think he knew that Sherlock Holmes would be on heroin and a wreck. And I didn't think he knew what we were getting into with that one because I was like 8. But I saw Annie, and this will be interesting. Guess who played Annie? She's still a pretty big star. She has a franchise of movies. They're not making one right now, but technically she still has a franchise.
I don't know.
Sarah Jessica Parker was Annie.
Oh, wow.
I haven't liked
Yep.
her since Square Pegs.
She was hot in that, but could we take Golden Girls and Sex in the City and combine it? Because it's the same show if you think about it, especially now.
Yeah.
They're
I
actually
never-
older than the Golden Girls.
Well, we had something like that. It was called Girls on HBO, but they failed. That show was subsidized by Game of Thrones.
I
It's
didn't catch that
interesting
one.
how I could not stand Game of Thrones. I thought it was absolutely boring, but I'm very intrigued with the 2 seasons I've seen of House of the Dragon.
I thought season 2 sucked.
I haven't watched any of it.
House of Dragon's pretty good, and it had like 5 good moments in the season, but season 2 kind of sucked.
Think so? I'm a little. I knew. I had a feeling.
got-
that, I
There's
don't
a
know.
war
I
going
figured
on.
this was how it was going to play out.
There's a war on. It's major, and it's all happening off screen. We're just hearing about it. And the only thing I noticed that was interesting this season was if you touch your faction's D&D table and move shit around, you will die. Everyone who's done that died. So that might be something the show's doing. But I thought like the whole season, like episode 2, Matt Reeves, what's his name? Matt Smith finds out that he's sleeping in a haunted bed and that he can't trust anything he sees. So what does motherfucker do? He's gone back to sleep in that bed like 5 more times. And like, so now he's in a dream within a dream within a dream within a dream within a dream. What the fuck is happening? We don't know. But finally we find out that, yeah, that chick was some kind of ghost and or some kind of witch who no one else can see but him. So his whole season doesn't happen. It's one long dream within a dream within a dream. Well, we're never going to be able to track if he's awake or not.
Hey,
He
speaking
could
of
die
witches,
and come back at any time.
speaking of witches, I want to get LDG to watch Agatha Harkness.
No.
I want to
Oh
see
my
if he
God,
ends up.
dude.
No, you guys,
that.
you fucking guys, when are you gonna get this? In order to make shows go away, people can't watch them. They have to let them
I know,
die.
but I want to see if he ends up in the hospital like he did over WandaVision.
You know what it is, Darren? On YouTube, the fans are represented by 2 separate but equally important bodies. The creators who tell a bunch of bullshit stories about how the show is great, and the YouTube content makers who expose
Deej.
and destroy the bad content. Well, Deej is one of them, yeah.
Deej, that joke of yours about him going to the hospital for WandaVision, that's older than your grandma's buckskin dildo, okay? Let it go.
He'll be back in
No,
the
I'm not going to
hospital.
let it go because that was a
I believe
grand
that.
and glorious time. Plus, we do not have to watch it through any legit sources that
Hey,
actually
Joe.
gives them
Don't
watch
need to.
time. We can get it elsewhere to where
Right,
all
but you'll
that,
be talking
and
about
look,
it, and
look,
then-
I knew
Yeah,
he
but
was
I'm not gonna
listening
watch that
because
shit.
his foot is going to send me to the hospital. I knew he was
Is-
listening. I got him to come out.
you're still giving them the internet currency of attention, and that is the problem. They're using internet attention as a metric to help keep some of these shows alive. That's why we've got another season of that Lord of the Rings show on Amazon. That's why
Didn't they
we've
pierce
gotten
that after Batwoman?
that's why
though?
we've gotten several more seasons of Discovery than we should have gotten. It's because these shows aren't allowed to die. You remember this show with Judson Scott in the 80s called The Phoenix? You remember
Yes.
that show? Okay. There's a reason why it only lasted not even half a season. It's because nobody watched it. and it went away.
And hold
That's
on,
Star Trek-
Discovery
the
only
Star
got
Trek
the
show
fifth.
can't be made to go away.
Discovery only got the 5th season because they wanted to make sure that it had more seasons than Enterprise.
It
Yeah,
shouldn't
well-
have
Here's the
had.
thing.
It shouldn't have
It-
had a second season. Is the point?
Season
They
5
shouldn't
is
have had a
season-
first season.
Season 5 is part 2 of
Well,
season 4. It was all filmed at once years before we saw it, and it should never have had a first season. That was never Star Trek. It was
Well,
terrible.
Never a
But
first
people-
season. I'll give them the first season, but after everybody saw what it was, it shouldn't have been.
Somebody
a
in
second
TV
season.
should have read that script and stopped it. But okay,
Well,
here's the-
okay.
here's
Well,
the
the
thing,
problem
though.
is they're not
Here's-
hiring writers; they're hiring activists.
That is a
Pretending to write
problem.
it.
Here's another problem. We have a bulletproof IP. We're not allowed to not put it on the air. We're not allowed to get rid of it. The Star Trek people got them by the balls. I've been researching this because it's such a BFD on my channel. The Star Trek license rights were split up between movie and TV when Gene Roddenberry's movie didn't do well,
Yeah.
right? So then
Yeah.
they created yet another license for video games. The video game people just disavowed the TV people about 2 years ago. So that is now like a bad marriage, and that video game people are getting ripped off left and right by the show people. In Picard, where they used the not the deflectors, what do you call it? The tractor beam to throw one ship into another. That was invented by the game people, and it's kind of a cool little thing that doesn't change much. The stuff that goes on in the TV show, we
Yes.
found out Netflix went to court saying that they canceled it right away. It's not Star Trek. And CBS didn't have enough money to attach to the arbitration. The arbitration goes behind closed doors. We don't see what happened. All we know was the accusations made in public first. Netflix wins. They get out of their contract in under the common law. The United Commercial Code of America gives you 3
Right.
business cycles on any broken contract. So they were gone without their buyout in 3 years. If CBS had attached to that, they'd be out of it too. It was been reported as recently as yesterday. The Kurtzman buyout is so high that it would break CBS. They can't get rid of him, and he won't restructure. And right now, it looks like laziness is winning the day for everyone because Kurtzman is refusing to compromise on Star Trek Legacy, which is just a poorly conceived idea. They want it to be like a little bit of the Next Generation reunion here and there, and he wants it to be a lesbian empowerment story about lesbian Seven and lesbian Raffi. And it's just like, you can't have people dating in charge of the same ship. You've been in the military, Darren. Think about how unmilitary and stupid that idea is.
So let me get us back on track, because what I was talking about was how you by continuing to talk about bad programming, you keep it alive.
Oh,
And I
that's wrong.
understand-
That's
and I
wrong. His
understand-
contract's
and I
bulletproof. They
understand- and I
can't stop
understand-
it.
And I understand that YouTubers, that found their niche by complaining about things, kind of have to keep it going. But
You
honestly,
pretend that
if you-
there's
if
no any
you
way
really-
the show would have stopped.
if
If
you
we had all
really
been
want
silent, the
something-
show would still be going.
if
They
you-
have a bulletproof
if you
contract.
If you really want it to go away, you would just let it die, because they can't even go, look, the show, it may have gotten lousy ratings, but it has huge buzz online.
doesn't,
Again,
though.
it's a factor.
It does not
and-
have a
and-
huge buzz online.
Well, that's what they
Game of
say.
Thrones, but
Well,
Darren,
half
Game of
the
Thrones
time when
watch
they
party,
say
like-
there's a huge buzz online,
Yeah.
it's themselves
negative.
making that buzz.
Oh, of course,
You know
I
what?
know.
If
But-
you notice,
but
most
then
people
again-
change their hashtag so that it won't make the thing trend. Like Rings of Power is being hashtagged with a W and an AH at the end, right? A W in front and an AH at the end. That's how people are getting around making a trend. As does that. So a lot of people are on to what you're saying, but if you see the contract situation with Star Trek, that's not something this applies to. We would have gotten everything we've gotten exactly as we've
I'm not
gotten it
talking
because the
about-
guy
I'm not
doesn't
talking
care or
about-
listen.
I'm not talking about contracts. I'm not talking about internal politics that you seem to have a main line on. I'm talking about how we
Everyone
as
knows
fans
this.
react. How we as fans react to bad content. That's what I'm commenting on.
It's a
Right?
fair point, but if it exists, we have a right to review it, and that doesn't make us lesser YouTubers at all.
Whether you can do a thing and whether you should do a thing are two different subjects. All right.
The public
know,
can
if-
arbit that by views and likes.
Or by not watching it, right? I mean, that's typically, you're seeing video games right now that are closing down less than a month after they're released because nobody's watching them. That is the most effective way, or playing them. That's the most effective way to get something that's bad off the market.
Well, that's one of
It
the reasons
starts
I
with
think
people
why-
making noise and getting a boycott going.
No,
It starts
but
with
I
people
mean,
making a noise and getting.
No, the most
Websites
effective way of getting
overall are
something off the
generally
market is for it to
stupid.
simply not generate any interest at all, and that
One of
takes
the things-
That would
discipline
not.
that we don't,
That would
that
not have
most
stopped
YouTubers
Star
don't
Trek.
have.
No, I'm
That
saying,
takes
but when
discipline that
okay,
most
for
people
example, the
don't have.
Acolyte, all you
It's not
can
our
do
fault.
from
It's theirs, Darren. You're not going to shift the blame to us. It's their fault. It sucks. Not the people who say it sucks.
There's factors on both sides, and we have to start addressing ours.
Yeah, we
I'm
do
not
have to
gonna review
address
it
it. Well, the
anymore, but
problem
I'm
is
not
we
gonna
went through
put
the
down
woke
people who
phase
do.
where they hired all these actors, and the worst part is they thought this was going to generate a new audience for them. And then, yeah, you've got people who got their profession on YouTube. They make their money complaining about it. One of the reasons why I think The Acolyte, that was the one show that Disney officially canceled in Star Wars, is because despite every site saying, oh, it's these haters, it's these haters, it's these haters, nobody was talking about the show. It wasn't trending anywhere.
It had
But the thing is,
attention
the
from the
pretend-
usual suspects, but at the end of the day, there wasn't a whole lot there.
All right, now you're all in trouble. You are all in trouble now.
Why? Oh, here comes LD.
Hey, Rhonda.
Oh.
Also, look, man, a Star Trek watch party for New Trek does 100 people, 160 people. A watch party for Game of Thrones does 2,200. So that's how much
right.
media attention.
And this is how I'm going to solve. Every time somebody brings up New Trek or anything, I'm going to play this video.
Jesus Christ!
Who's your friend? Oh, do you find me sexy? Oh, look at my titties.
Oh, my titties! Ha!
Just
a
be
brutal
aware of
but
that.
effective method. Yeah, I'm not turning that agonizer booth on.
Yeah. I'm not hitting the agonizer button on that. I'm not giving you my agonizer.
Yesterday, I felt like wasting a whole bunch of time, so I went ahead and tuned into Salty Trekker's Nerd Fights church life stream, in which he decided not to talk about church yesterday. And we brought up that we brought up in the chat the ridiculous scene where the crew are supposedly turning into Vulcans because of an injection on their neck, right? And how demonstrative it was of the poor quality of Strange New Worlds. And of course, Salty being an apologist.
There he goes.
We're
there he
gonna get
goes
the
talking
host
about New
back.
Trek again. So
Jesus Christ!
Who's your friend? Oh, do you find me sexy? Oh, look at my titties.
Oh, my titties! Ha!
All right. So, remind me again. What is the topic that generates that image?
anything
We're not gonna
dealing with
say
New
it.
Trek.
Star Trek after 2005.
Okay. So anyway, Salty. It was just a nosebleed situation because he was slipping and sliding all over the place, trying to defend the show that he likes, that he can't on any objective level. So it was fun to kind of watch him slip and slide a little bit, but in the end he did what he normally does. You get the chat, he gets to speak, and he declares victory and then moves on.
I like how this happened with Vile Mike, and Darren Joe's up and he's like, "Oh, thank God you're running a stream," because he was running from Salty Trekker.
Yeah, I saw a clip of that episode. That was the dumbest thing I had ever seen.
Yeah, it was so poorly written, with people finishing each other's sentences in a 3-character chain, which is like the most baby-brained tweener shit that you see. That is cartoon writing, and it's but there's other aspects we didn't even talk about that on Salties that are a problem. But go ahead, Londell. Sorry.
I mean, the whole situation and the way they were solving it was stupid. Turn everybody into Vulcans. Okay, this is science fiction. You're in a spaceship. That means
we're gonna get the hose again.
Okay, put them in spacesuits, put them on a shuttle, and okay, we can do this, but we got to go back and forth because you got to go back to the ship to fix something on your suit. and maybe at the very last one is the farthest away, and you got Spock and the captain. They go out, and the captain's lying because his suit's in worse shape than anybody else's. And it's all different kinds of ways you could have done that, made it interesting. But no, like you said, they come up with a dumb idea, and they do it in the dumbest way possible. And that's why I'm so glad I stopped watching all this crap after one season of Discovery.
You could tell it's failed crime writers writing every show. It's like, it's a mystery. It's a mystery. They never can pay it off. It's failed crime writing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, police procedural or something, and they're writing what they think science fiction is, and it shows because
they want to break out and they want to break out and write one of the crime shows. They think they're like, I'll write this show and I'll make this murder mystery inside of the world of another science fiction IP. And they're saying like, oh, it's refreshing and new. It's like, someone counted that The Acolyte was the 13th straight mystery of Star Wars, starting with Empire Strikes Back, or with A New Hope, because at the beginning of that movie they're looking for the data tapes.
Okay, I found a video now. Anytime anybody brings up The Acolyte, they get this one.
You know what would have made that twerking moment in She-Hulk so much better? If She-Hulk wasn't wearing a pantsuit, if she was actually wearing something that was attractive, at least it would have had that for a plus. But I don't know how that relates to The Acolyte at all. That She-Hulk clip, but when I saw the water, when I saw the droplets, when I saw the ripples in the water, I thought Rosetta was coming. But
apparently, Shifty loves that video because he's like spamming the chat now with The Acolyte.
So what was
the
it?
video was well made, but I don't think they had enough money to give her a second look. You know what I mean? Like She-Hulk in the gray pantsuit is just She-Hulk in the gray pantsuit, and that's all they could ever afford, and that's all she ever is She-Hulk, which is weird. Because She-Hulk's supposed to be kind of have like weirdly torn up, like sexy clothes. They made their female lead looking good. Was anybody else surprised to find out Tatiana Maslany is in her 30s? I was like, why have a 51-year-old woman as She-Hulk? She looks so much worse. And episode 1 of that show, the whole episode was built around making that scene where they showed that a bathroom in the ladies' room is a safe space for all kinds of people, because she blows off like a mandatory emergency room trip and gets a makeover from a gay man in a ladies' room. And it's like, oh, this is all normal and cool and what you would do if you were in a car accident. You're like, what the fuck is that? This whole episode was devised to tell us that we should have more kinds of bathrooms. I hate this show.
Yeah. Well, they chose to emphasize the wrong parts of the She-Hulk mythos. The stuff that was A, easier to do for television, and B, that was more in line with feminism.
No, but what I think
current feminism, 70s feminism.
Yeah, you've nailed it.
Yep.
You've nailed it. It's 7th wave feminism or whatever we call it now.
Yeah, because when She-Hulk was first introduced, they tried to make her a monster character. That didn't work. Within 1 or 2 issues, they changed her to the formula that was successful, and that was she's just called the She-Hulk because she's tall and green. Everything else about her is different, including obviously her gender. But they basically turned her into a big green Farrah Fawcett that giggled a lot, had fun, and was strong.
I was always more into the Savage She-Hulk comics. I didn't really get into the Sensational She-Hulk comics.
Well, Savage only lasted didn't even last like a year. John Byrne was one of the original innovators of that character, and he really did flesh her out quite a bit. He's the one who had her switch from the Avengers to the Fantastic Four. She filled in for Ben Grimm.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Fantastic Four too. You know what? Honestly, that guy loving that character and giving her the fourth wall breaks and changing it made for a decent comic, but they didn't even try to make a decent TV show. That TV show was hateful of the source material. Not different. It was hateful of it.
in my opinion, they should not have done the breaking of the fourth wall thing, because what made that special in the comic was it was derived mostly from Woody Allen movies. So if you do that,
I thought it was
if you then
quite
take
funny,
that,
but okay.
so then if you take it from a comic to the show, it's going to look like a show copying another show. It looks like it's going to be, okay, this is a big green Ally McBeal with some, and that's I would have advised
they were
them
a terrible
not to break
Ally
the fourth wall.
McBeal too.
Yeah.
To be fair, they were also a terrible Ally McBeal, right? Their
Right.
Ally McBeal side of their show was terrible too, because they
Right,
didn't understand a normal job.
No,
didn't
they
understand
didn't
what it's like
know
to have a
anything about
job.
it. The
Right.
writers flat out said they knew nothing about doing court procedurals.
Right.
Well, you could tell because when She-Hulk is talking to the court, the people behind her flip from one side of the room to the other in a poorly conceived special effects shot. If any people were ever there, maybe they
Yeah.
doubled them and had them move around to different spots and then took another photograph and used it for both sides. But also, the defense and the prosecution table flipped from one side to the other, from one side to the other. They didn't even know basic continuity or object persistence in She-Hulk. And in the words of George Lucas, you may not notice it, but your brain will. In this case, we had too much time to actually fully notice it. But, the new MCU thing of like people teleporting around and people off screen being on pause, you might not notice it right away, but that builds up an amount of distrust and disdain.
Well, I think the whole reason they did this is because, and it seemed like they did it on purpose to just be a big fuck you to everybody.
That's the one intentional thing they managed to do.
Yeah, because they were just like, they basically just came out and admitted this was a big fuck you. So
Hey,
they got all that.
They also admitted it was a fuck
Hey,
you to their
excuse
boss
me.
who gets trolled.
Excuse me, but there's only one fuck you that counts.
I can't possibly check them before. Captain says it was LDG.
Hey.
Yes. Ah! What?
That's from Deej. Deej.
Fuck you,
the
Deej!
first one to request.
The
a slot
first
today.
one. How many people
That's it.
requested?
It always goes to the first. It's the winner. Deej was our winner. Thank you, Deej.
Fuck you, Deej.
Oh man.
I feel like he's here cursing me out right now.
Now I saw SOB on there and I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, I can't do the accent or the crap.
LDG saw your show last night.
Oh yeah, you call that a show?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out what the fuck you were talking about, but it
I'm-
was
I'm glad-
interesting. I enjoyed it.
I'm glad that LDG is here, because earlier in the stream I was playing in my avatar the trailer he made
Yeah,
for my
saw
comic
that.
book sign up, and nobody said a word. And I was gonna let everybody know that LDG cut that together from the art from the comic, but being a shitty host, Deej didn't even
Oh,
acknowledge.
well, granted, I get lots of people that just randomly put up shit all the time, so I've learned to not say anything because half the time they're just doing it to annoy me.
Okay.
Where's
See, if you would
JP's?
have actually just pointed out to me that, hey, this is what LDG did for me, I want to show it, I would have put it up on the big screen for everybody to see.
Okay. I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead and do that right now, and then we'll get it over with.
I thought it was so funny seeing like headlines for the canceled show from Stars, and it just having, well, yeah, it wasn't a good show, but because of the representation, it needs another season. And I'm just
Right.
like,
MB.
All right.
yeah.
So here we go.
Shut
We're
the
good.
fuck up for a minute and a half.
Mention
Okay?
this.
We're going to watch this, so everybody stay quiet.
It's a minute and 27 seconds. I think you can spare it.
I'm
yeah.
more afraid of that foot than LDG's.
Hey,
And
did that say? I thought I saw a thing in there that said Toasty. Like one of the books said Toasty on it.
Yeah, the magazine in the alleyway, right?
Yeah, I was kind of like, is that a reference to Mortal Kombat?
I don't know, but whoever did it had like a real they cared about the details. That was really good, LDG. Way to go.
yeah,
Yeah,
did
man.
Bravo
anybody
to
Appreciate it.
bravo to Darren as well.
did anybody notice the license plate on the
Yes,
semi?
I did.
Big toe, right?
Yeah.
That's Sergeant Hulk's truck because he's our big toe. Okay, only Teague got that reference. Uncouth
from
sons of
Stripes.
bitches.
Tomorrow morning, our big
Okay,
toe is
Mr.
gonna be
Lundell
out.
got it. Stripes.
Settle down, Francis.
Everybody calls me Psycho.
And you fruitcakes calls me Francis. I'll kill you.
I'm more of an ox. I will get in and mud wrestle with the girls.
I love how they fucked the rest of the cast over. Everyone had to get crew cuts, but the stars are like, oh no, we decided that for us it was more normal and believable.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Oh man, I love that movie. Where's your drill sergeant? Load up, sir.
And Sean,
but yeah,
when she
anyway,
was truly
I appreciate you listening last night. I don't even know what the hell I was saying last night, man. I'm just really trying to like practice. I gotta tell you, man, trying to come out with content. One of my biggest challenges is practicing how I'm gonna sound and how I'm gonna talk and shit. And I've basically been trying to do that with the Job channel, but I don't know. I'm not feeling
your
it.
verbal delivery is decent and you have a decent speaking voice. That's not a problem at all. In fact, you might be a little better off than most people in that department.
You just have lack of comic timing.
Okay,
And-
step one,
and details.
LDT, write it down. Okay.
But that's my problem, though. I write it down and I feel like I can't read without sounding like I'm reading. Like that's
just
like
take some
I think very difficult for me to do. Like if I write down really good ideas and I just script, it'll
Shake it
literally
off and
sound like
read.
I'm reading it.
And no,
Take it off
Jackie,
and read.
Francis was not a horse. Francis was a mule.
Yeah, that's right. With who is it? Donald God. I can't think of the guy's name.
Yeah.
Sutherland?
Mr. Ed was a horse. Francis was the talking mule.
Okay.
Oh,
But
Mr. Ed, I love that show. Actually, I have it.
okay, so when you have the script, you're not actually reading the script, LDG. You've got it there so that if you get stumbled, you can get right back on track. You can,
Yeah.
You know, so you're not going to be sitting there staring at it unless you want to use your teleprompter, in which case then you're going to sound like a newscaster. But you know that's
Or a
typically
boring-ass
why you have the
politician.
script in front of you.
This just in. LDG is reading from a teleprompter. News at 11.
You'll be
How about this?
you'll be Ron Burgundy.
LDG, how about this one? Bullet points then? If you don't want to script
Yeah, that's what I was
bullet
saying. Do bullet
points.
points.
Yeah, that's essentially what
I
I
guess
was
that would
trying
work.
to get-
Yeah, you
Yeah.
just do bullet points.
Cliff notes.
Yeah, basically, all you got to do is just write down a topic, maybe put one or two subparts in that on your notes, and then go to your next
Binders.
side. And if you add to it, but you don't have to go into detail. You're already smart enough to know the topics you're talking about. So you're just
Right.
keeping yourself in.
Well, you can go a little bit like let's say the bullet point is like Warner Brothers, right? And then underneath it, like your two sub notes would be so you don't forget Batman, Bugs Bunny, something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And under each one of those, where you want to go with Batman, where you want to go with Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, there you go.
Just
Yeah.
a couple of sentences.
Yeah,
you
you
have
just
to get familiar with your content.
And if your only goal is to just talk about them, then you don't have to even put that. You just leave them up there, and you know that your only goal is to have a conversation about them. Because sometimes while Londell's right, like sometimes the goal is just to see where the conversation goes. So I try not to have like an objective. Just I try not to have like an endpoint goal, just an objective.
Yeah.
You know, one of the
I
things
got
we
this
like-
weird visual in my head though when LTG says Bugs Bunny, where do I want to go with this? He's like Garth. And do you ever find that Bugs Bunny's attractive when he's dressed up like a girl?
Well, you could take something like take a big topic like
World
Mel.
War III.
What was the voice actor? Mel Blancs.
Mel Blanc.
Blank.
Yeah,
Blanc,
Mel
yeah.
Blanc. And you know, if you were going to do that, you would put okay, Mel Blanc, and then pop a few points on what you want to talk about them, and go down below a little more details like his voice acting, his influence, things like that. You know, just
That would be
But
that would be like your title right there. It's like Mel Blanc, and then you have your Mel Blanc bullet points.
yeah.
I don't know. See, it's just weird because it's like, I mean, I can talk. Like, obviously, I can come on the panel and I can sit here and talk and sound normal, but that's not the videos I'm trying to do. I'm trying to do like, you know, trying to do the videos about, you know, Prometheus and everything, trying to sell something and get a movement going. And I'm not really trying to do I'm trying to do what the big boys do. You know, actual informative videos.
What did Qui-Gon
not just
say?
some kind
The
of
ability to talk doesn't
open
mean you're
panel.
intelligent.
Yeah. And you know, I'm going to be reaching a whole bunch of people who don't know who I am and don't, you know, it's completely out of left field. So am I going to be able to sell it?
Well, if you need
And,
help, we could always get some clips that you could show them on who you are, like you jumping into the swimming pool, you falling out.
Yeah,
of
here it comes.
chair.
Here it comes. Okay. So we're past the
you know,
serious part of the
stuff like that.
conversation. All right.
His
Gotcha.
story
Well,
city,
okay,
Elihu at
okay.
Disney World.
You're the
really want to
AI
show them
guy.
who you are. You got to
You're
show
the
them all
AI
sides.
guy. Just go ahead and use an AI voice if it really bothers you.
Use your tech boy. Do your tech stuff. You want
Come
to
on,
sit there and
Pickles, you
tell
know
them
how
who you
to do
are.
this. And then when you start it up and people are like, why do they call him Pickles? We all can get to tell the story.
Pickle Rick.
Yeah, having a nickname because people's tongues have a stroke while trying to say your actual name is exactly best
Hey,
selling
man,
point,
it's
but,
better than, hey, okay, Deej, throw it up because come on, LDG, you it ain't more embarrassing than this.
No, I'm not going to do it now because you want it.
Oh, damn it. No fair.
Just take the boy too. No. Why? Because you wish it.
Actually, I had to use that on my son a few times because he's like, do it. I'm like, no. He's like, why? I'm like, because that's what you want. I'm not giving you what you want. I'm sorry, this ain't my first rodeo. Wasn't that what they called Biden a couple of times? What was it? I saw a meme was like weekend at Biden. And it
Yeah,
had
but
the weekend at
it's
Bernie
me now. It's me now. I'm just
So did we get any any update on that guy who tried being Trump's pen pal yesterday?
Yeah, most of the updates are he wanted to be a Ukraine soldier. He tried to recruit Afghanis to go fight too. He
Motherfucker was 65 years old. He thought he was a soldier.
he's 58.
He's a fucking wannabe.
Same difference.
He gives to Act Blue just like the last one did, which is a big Democrat super PAC. So all these bullshit that you see that he's a Republican online is just
Plus, get this, he was actually barred from owning a firearm because he'd gotten in trouble earlier.
yeah, wasn't it last year he had an armed standoff in his own construction business with cops?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I haven't checked any updates today myself.
So yeah, it's
I'm
just,
glad they caught this piece of shit alive so that we can get the information out of him. If he gets shot in the parking
unless
shot in the goddamn
Unless
parking
somebody
garage,
makes
hanging
you
himself
know
up,
the cameras could get turned off at the prison and something could happen.
You know, Hillary Clinton could make a call.
You know, and
Hillary Clinton's 0 for 2 in her last 2 phone calls. I don't think anybody's gonna. I don't think she has. When Hillary Clinton sends us her assassins, she's not sending her best anymore. She's sending idiots. She's sending criminals. You know, Ronald Reagan. Goodness gracious me, he was shot by a wealthy Hawaiian man.
That was the biggest laugh I had yesterday from that Harris Win bullshit web page on X. They tried to claim that Ronald Reagan would be voting for Kamala Harris. Ronald Reagan opposed every damn thing that she thought of.
Well, at what point in his life, when he had Alzheimer's after it became advanced, I can believe that at the.
Well, then again, he is dead now, so he could be voting for her. Because
he has voted Democrat in every election since he died, Deej.
I did a video once where I said, I just found out my grandparents are voting Democrat for the first time. And I was just like, they never would have done this when they were alive. It's just ridiculous.
Okay, all that shit on X that you see about Kamala pulling ahead in polls and shit, it's all bullshit. Because everywhere I look, nobody is talking about her. Nobody is talking about her in a good way. Everywhere I've looked.
I see
everything
it,
I see is
Twitter bullshit.
Yeah, well, she's fake. She's not Barack Obama. She doesn't have what he had back then.
She's not even discount Obama.
No, she's what? Aldi's Obama?
No, she's full price Kamala. She's like a whole new thing. Like, here you go. They couldn't have a primary because no one would have voted for her. She wasn't doing well in the last primary. But I will say this: if they have their plan, if things go the Democrats' way, that would mean that they called off the Hillary primary when Bernie started to kick her ass and she was starting to win by very little or lose. So she might not have sewn up that one if they had let it keep going. Then they don't have one at all because of COVID. Then they don't have another one because Biden allegedly they were as surprised as we were. Bullshit.
Well, no, they weren't.
But let me just finish my point real quick. If she wins and wins again, the next election cycle will have no primary. And then when her vice president, this Waltz guy or whoever her second term vice president would be, and it's a horrible future we're projecting into, but then that person would go 2 election cycles without a primary, meaning the Democrats will go from 2016 to something like 2032 without a primary if they get their way. And that's frightening and it should be frightening to any American, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. Political bosses picking candidates, that's not democracy.
One of the things too is
Democrats have been doing that for decades. Okay.
Yeah, but we also need
that used to be the way it worked.
Look at it this way. This is
for
how
senators only.
Look at this. Look at how this election cycle. They did not have a primary, even though Democrats were asking for it. 14 million Democrats voted for Biden. Biden knocks himself out at a debate. After weeks and months of telling us he's cogent. I always loved when I saw
sharp
that.
as attack. Sharp as attack until they flipped. It took less than
when
a
you
week
don't see him out, he's on fire. I talked to him for hours. He's totally alert. And
we saw him the next day acting that.
And it was a right wing conspiracy. All these videos of him seeming to not know where he was or get lost in a conversation or in a speech. They called those deep cheap fakes. That's what Jean-Pierre said. And
that was a great little word to come up with. She kind of did a good job with that. I will say this. I believe that it comes and goes because we saw him acting normal above that baseline and making sense the next day. But it was like the fact that does happen, and even people who handle him can't put it off or control when it happens. Yeah, that's going a bit too far for me to trust.
You're in a controlled environment like that, and anyway, getting back to what I was saying is so he bombs on the debate. I mean, I'm just watching that and I'm like, holy shit. I was like, if the Democrat, it was like, I swear to God, if the
It looked
Democrats
like
come
elder
to-
abuse.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
felt like
A
elder
lot of people
abuse. I
thought-
really want to yell at his wife, and I'm like, why did you do this? I'm actually very ashamed of these people because it stopped being a joke a long time ago. The
Right.
25th Amendment
Thomas, I
should
did
have
see
been
that.
invoked years
I
ago.
have no idea. I have no idea what's going on with that. The 25th Amendment is impossible. It takes like 3/4 of the cabinet. It was designed for a cabinet of like 6 people. It's like now there's 2 mechanisms. One is a congressional vote
Yeah.
or the Supreme Court. The other one is like a plurality of the cabinet. But now that the cabinet is so big, it's like last time around, like 4 people out of like 11 were trying to go for it. 2 people were like on the fence, and like just like no one would come off the fence, and then some people just weren't going to go for it. But
Right.
who was it?
Well, they didn't want to make it because they were playing with optics. It was like that's why they kept telling us he was sharp as attack, and it's like, no, you.
I'm talking
don't
about Trump.
Believe your own eyes. Don't believe
Talking
your
about Trump.
eyes. It's a cheap fake. No, they didn't
Yeah.
have a primary. Then he bombs, and then basically this is how I think it happened. It pretty much probably
Well,
went.
they wouldn't have
something
had a
like that.
primary.
Obama and Nancy Pelosi got on the phone, and then Nancy Pelosi walked into the Oval Office and said, "Okay, we can do this the easy way or the hard way, but you're gone."
Yeah.
I think it was more a call from Obama, but yeah, I think Obama gave him the bad news.
I'm still going to go with the old theory that he didn't even know he stepped down until after you read it. It was some intern that got word from somebody else down the line that said, we want him out, put it out, and make it look like he wrote the statement that he's bowing out. And then
I called.
then they went behind the scenes, and that's why it took an hour and a half before he put out the tweet supporting Harris that they flat out told him, we already have the cabinet in line. They will boot you if you do not bow out.
Yeah, I think Congress would have booted him too, because to be honest, after that debate, I called both
No,
my
Congress
senators.
would not have booted him because the Republicans would have went on Joe's side to keep him in.
I don't know about maybe they would have. I will say this though: the day
I think
after
they
that
would have.
debate, the day after that debate, I called both my senators and my rep to Congress, and none of them were anything but dead serious about the fact that they were going to have a talk to him about stepping down. They knew right away. The next day they were saying, because I was like, this is insane and it's a crime and it's elder abuse and I don't want to have to watch it on television anymore. You have to get that guy out of there. He needs to step down. He at least stepped out of election, but the fact that he's our leader right now and we know he's not even 60% of the guy we didn't like that much, that's bothersome. And our enemies love it. President Xi is laughing. Putin's laughing. They're all laughing.
Kim Jong Un, the Ayatollahs laughing, Hamas, the Houthis.
But you know what's funny is though it looks like Joe. First of all, yes, Joe had a history where he would say things like, let's go, Brandon. I agree, you know, and stuff where he was, you know, and that was one of the best clips ever made because his wife is sitting there next to him and she just all of a sudden gets flustered because he says it. But lately he's been wearing a MAGA hat, or he actually wore a MAGA hat at some event. And that's been going around. It's like,
yeah, well, I'm not taking any stock in the whole thing because if you watch that whole video, they were joking back and forth.
Yeah,
that the guy that was wearing the Trump hat was goating him and everything else.
Did
And
they put the hat on just because he has dementia? They're like, put this on to show that people with dementia wear them.
No, I think he just put it on because he wanted to try to be funny.
Yeah, he put it on and allowed himself to be photographed with it on, which is in terms of optics, you know, not
That's the
what
key part there,
left,
though.
what the left wants, right? So,
see, that's the key part there. It doesn't matter what his intentions were. What did everybody perceive? And that's how the optics matter. And everybody's running with that. And then, of course, the left is coming over and saying, hey, no, he did this idea. It doesn't matter. Does
anybody with half a
everybody
brain
believe that?
Anybody with half a brain, though, knows that he was doing it as a joke. He's not really supporting Trump.
Yeah, well,
he's not.
But everybody knows
he's
Trump's,
clearly clearly not taking it seriously anymore. That's the other thing. Is that yes, but he allowed himself to be photographed with a Trump hat.
I don't see how he loses though, right? Because the perception of people who dislike him is he has dementia. So they throw a Trump hat on a dementia patient. Like that was like maybe an effective method of mockery. Like I'm not going to sell their spin doctor short. They know how to lie.
I thought he was mocking Kamala when he did it, to be honest.
Yeah, that's my thing. I think he was mocking Kamala because I did see some stuff
they
where
don't like each other.
people are
They don't like
wondering.
each other.
I mean, look, Biden is not happy when he's actually coherent or cogent, whichever you want to use. You can't tell me he is not angry because remember, they said they're trying to force me out. I'm not leaving. And then he got forced out, and then they basically humiliated him.
If he watched himself on TV, he probably said, all right, I'll go with it. I mean, if that was the intervention was making him watch that 90 minutes, that might have been all it took. If he had any shame, my God, it was terrible.
Nah, I'm still sticking with somebody did it behind the scene, and they forced him out by threatening them with the 25th Amendment.
Oh, definitely.
And that's why an hour and
optics are important.
That could still have happened, and he acquiesced later when he realized that no one was going to back him. But like the intervention, just showing him the video probably started him preparing. It was like, okay, maybe this is a night of the long knives I can't put off, because he's done nothing but cooperate with them since like maybe the second day. Took a while for it to sink in, like everything was. That was the problem with him, is he didn't get it for a day or two.
Yeah.
When you did like what he did, which was infrequent, but I thought, what did this quote come from the Democratic Congressional Congress? The core, we love it. We think that the president always does the right thing about 2 weeks too late.
Yeah. Well, they're like, go ahead, Mr. Lundell.
No, I was laughing at what Teague was saying.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just the spin they try to do. And then with that interview with Harris, or the debate with Harris, I mean, we all could tell that was a 3-on-1. But the thing is, what I was watching was less about what the person was saying. When I mean, I was hearing what one person was saying, and I was watching how the other person was reacting to it. And Kamala was very nervous around him, and her nonverbals very much showed that.
Don't you think that's appealing to her audience of completely frightened women?
The funny thing was that Tim Walz this week did a faux pas where he talked about Kamala and said that she was a former prostituter. He obviously meant to say prosecutor, but what came out was prostituter.
Same thing. I mean, no, well, she was Willie Brown's scoots away.
But I mean, that was another optics problem that they had this week that kind of got pushed away by more recent events.
Well, they made a big mistake bringing in Tim Walz, and then they attacked JD Vance. You know
what? JD Vance's comments have very much upset my extremely Republican mother, though. His comments on infertile people were so poorly crafted that a lot of people who have adopted kids took that shit as a personal insult.
How long ago did he say this?
This is an ongoing thing with him and his supporters with
how long ago did he say
mayonnaise. 10 days?
I don't recall hearing that. I think he's one
neither.
of the things is I know.
Google it.
Yeah, I mean, but you have JD Vance, who unfortunately,
I think he's a dumb hillbilly.
Hey, let people let people finish their thoughts before you jump in.
I apologize.
So anyway, when it comes to he's also a Marine, so he's a badass. I'm going there because I'm a Marine and I got to protect my brother. Just like I can protect my bubblehead until he launches nukes from the sub. But
okay, now he lost his train of thought.
JD Vance, the biggest thing was he's on record saying he is a retired command sergeant major, which is wholly an inaccurate thing. And people are saying, well, he's misspoke. No. I already said he carried weapons of war into war, and they're like, he misspoke. I'm like, no. Darren, you and I know this. You don't embellish your service.
Right. it's
No,
so
I
easy
think-
to verify things now too. That I mean, back in World War II, and those veterans, they could say whatever they wanted. They'll make you think that they won the war single handedly with 245s. But that's because
Yeah.
everything was on paper, yeah, and it took a while to research things.
Well,
Now,
I thought only
I mean,
Patton participated in combat.
yeah. Anyway, but yeah, it's a thing that I'm constantly having to make sure that I make myself clear as to what my job was and what I did and how I left and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, but there's other folks that they're a little bit more loose with their comments, and they try to slide things in every once in a while. And you got former people that you worked with that could chime in. I mean, that happened to John Kerry. You got, the Swift Boat vets put the kibosh on a lot of his claims, and to this day, it's one of those things where the media framed that as being Swift boated, and they still claim that the Swift Boat vets were all ganged up on him and lied about him, but
He shouldn't have lied about what he did.
They had the receipts. So I mean, and the left to this day still thinks that they were the liars and he wasn't.
In our
That's
army,
how-
buddy.
that's how
Here.
they
Sorry,
decided to do
Mr.
it.
Lundell. I didn't mean to leave you out of that.
Even the guys on PT 109 didn't all have the same feelings about JFK. He had a couple of them that he stopped talking to and froze out of all events.
I still
Yeah.
think Vance was the wrong choice, though.
No, I don't
Thank you,
think
DJ.
so.
Thank you.
No, I think he was perfect because he's pissed off the
Yeah.
vet community.
See,
That's
what
not
I'm-
the good
I'm seeing
leadership trait.
I'm seeing
Yeah, I
a
know.
guy I'm seeing a guy that's talking plain, especially when he gets in front of the media. Okay, I don't know why they keep trying to bully this guy, because every interview
'Cause
I've
he's
seen,
crass.
every interview he's done on CNN,
crass is
or
appropriate.
whatever, he beats them the hell up. Dana Bash should just raise the white flag and call it quits.
Yeah, but there was a
Dana
better
Bash-
choice that could have done just as good a job against the media.
Well,
I'm sorry, but Dana Bash-
Verbeek would have tore the media up too.
Yeah, I would. I'm fine with JD Vance. I don't have a problem with him.
No, I would look Vivek. Lack of political experience right now. He needs to be I'd give him a cabinet post.
Exactly.
What? Trump had absolutely no political experience, and he became president. I have
Yes,
no
but
problem.
he had,
He-
but he
I-
did have political experience in business on international dealings.
So does Verbeek.
Yeah. Well,
So
right, but
does
as it
Vivek,
stands
yes,
right
but
now, as
Vivek-
it stands,
Vivek, I've said I did not want him as vice president.
Yeah.
I said I wanted him in a cabinet position. I want him to grow because he is one of the futures of the party.
Yeah.
and talking about how little experience Trump had getting in is irrelevant now, because he's got more experience than the other side, because he's actually been president. So he's gotten that experience. So
Well, the simple fact is, this still comes down to, well, unfortunately, I've been saying this, is on the subject since Roe v. Wade got overturned, Casey versus Planned Parenthood due to the Dobbs decision. That stung in the midterms, but it took 49 years to get done. And you have people like them saying, oh, he's going to put a ban in. He's saying it's a state issue. And then they're like, oh, make no mistake, he'll do it. Like, no, he can't.
Well, no, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Now, this is where I'm going to disagree, because I even brought this up during the debate when we were live streaming it last week. Trump refused to come right out and absolutely say that he would reject a ban if it went through Congress.
But
And that was the biggest mistake he made.
because he has no interest in it.
no, he says
But-
it's a state issue, and so it would
Yeah,
that's what it is.
But
That's
they
that was the
him
correct response.
specifically, if it came through Congress,
But
he
it
refused
won't.
to answer that question.
That's the no, he doesn't, because it'll never fucking happen.
He's already
There's no way it'll make it through the legislation, just like
They
they'll
they
never
can't,
get Roe v. Wade
And it'll-
codified.
and it'll
Yeah.
get
But
struck
that's
down.
not the point.
It'll be struck down by the Supreme Court.
So again, there's certain hypotheticals that don't need to be asked because of why because of the practicality of whether they would happen or not.
Yes, but
Yeah,
if
but
you don't answer them hypotheticals, then you have what you have every day on X. They run with it and
Yeah,
show
Yeah,
but-
well,
that he
I
did
don't
not
think
answer
that
that.
They would say that anyway. They just say that he lied.
Yeah,
It
that's
doesn't
that's
matter.
how they would do.
Yes, but
This
at
is
least
not-
you can go back, like when they tried to pull this bullshit lie at the Charlottesville crap. You can actually go back and watch video where he specifically says that he was not
Yeah, and he
praising.
brought that up.
Again,
But
I
I'm
don't
not
have a
gonna-
problem with
It
how he
it
took
says
how
doesn't
it.
mean
many,
to bring
it
up
took how
abortion
many
because
years
it's an
for
issue.
the truth on Charlottesville to come out?
Well,
Okay.
that's because we all were bashing the truth out there and we were showing the videos. It was the media that didn't want to put it out there until they absolutely had to and were forced to. Yet they still lie their ass off and ignore it.
I guess I'll just point out that it's not hypothetical that no matter who you choose for vice president, it will lose and gain some votes a little bit. But if your vice presidential candidate is out there actively alienating people who are looking to vote Republican in the first place, he's an asshole and a liability on your ticket. Maybe RFK Jr., that offer he made should be thought about. I'm not saying do it, but maybe Vance is a dumb hillbilly.
Who is he isolating?
Well, when you're coming
But
out,
he
and you're
really
making-
insulted my mother, and she was looking to vote for Trump.
What did he say that pissed Mom off?
When we put the link in the private chat so people can see for themselves, and her take is her take. I didn't try to get into it with him. There's multiple different takes on the story. You guys can look at it, but his talk, like, I agree with the stuff he said, but the way he said it was dumb and was easily taken the wrong way and was politically poorly
Okay.
calculated speech.
He's a Republican, so every other word he says is taken the wrong way by the media. Okay,
They do
That's
This
not
was
why-
by a
that's why
Republican.
you have to
public
listen to what people say.
She watched him. You know that I'm saying he found a way to piss off my mom. Is she wrong? I don't know. People can make up their own minds. But whatever he said and however he said it, she was looking to vote for them.
And but like I said, the whole thing comes down to they keep talking about, oh, we'll codify it. Yeah, you did for 49 years. You had the super majority when you could have pulled it off under
Yeah.
the Obama administration. What'd you do? You passed Obamacare.
Well,
They
that's
could-
because of the
Could have
the
done it
fact
under
is
Clinton.
that's the fact though that they don't want to codify these things because they want
No,
to
they
use it
just
every
abuse it
election
every year.
cycle to make money and to get votes. They're never going to codify any of this shit in the first place.
They could have
You're right.
codified it under Jimmy Carter.
Oh, yeah. they
We
could
knew
have.
we had a botched election in 2000 so bad, but that we knew we needed to
Right.
write down new stuff, and neither side felt it was a good idea to go fix it because both sides like to stir the pot and cook the books.
I'm looking at the quote that or the link you put in. I'm not seeing a quote here. What is the quote?
You got to go. There was so many of those stories. First of all, like, I'm not going to ask
Okay,
my mom.
okay.
So you're really upset. Tell me specifically where and when he said it. That's one thing outside of it.
Okay, well
Two,
then we have nothing to go on. If we can't pinpoint
No,
what
what I said
exactly
was-
upset her, we have
what I
nothing to
said,
comment on.
what I said was there are so many takes on this story that you can research, do a search on what he said and see 16, 17
Yeah, but I don't
different
know what he
takes right
said.
away.
All I'm hearing is nothing. You're playing a
It's
classic
about-
game of show and
it has-
tell.
Something
You're
against your mom.
has-
playing a classic.
it
You're playing a classic game of show and tell. You're
No,
telling
I'm
me
not.
everything and showing me nothing. What is?
No,
What
I'm
is?
not.
I'm
You
looking
have
over-
Google too.
I'm looking
You
out over
have
this
Google
and
too.
hold on. I'm looking over this. Number one problem, it's TMZ. They're not going to
Oh,
tell you
my.
anything.
But I
Oh,
just took
God.
the top link. I realized that I said when I dropped it, there's 30 or 40 more links. You guys can just go look at the topic. Don't take the first
I don't
one.
know what
I was
topic I'm looking
asking-
up if I don't know what the hell it
here's-
is in the first place.
It has to do with the Jizz Cups. Vance Jizz Cup will get you the result.
What?
Okay.
Google Vance Jizz Cup. 2 Z's seems to be the way most people spelled it, though.
Vance Jizz Cup. Now this is going to hurt my profile. on
I'm
Google.
sorry that this is a thing that really exists, and like I'm not going to say that she's right. She heard something that pissed her off, and she has a right to her feelings. She's right about how she feels.
Well, I don't
As
know.
far
I'm
as
looking
knowing
at
her own
Snopes. Snopes has a fact check that no proof Trump supporters carried jars of fake Vance semen at a
Yeah,
thing.
all
So
I'm seeing are CGI creations. That's it. Maybe your mother needs an education on what is real and what is not.
everything
Maybe
that I'm
we can
looking
take
at,
it easy on mom. Maybe we
you
can
don't-
take
you
it
don't
easy
go
on
after
mom. I
your
think
mother.
I've explained it enough. And so then the answer would be, if we want to be snarky, and I don't, but show me the pictures of them not doing it then. I mean, so what? There's
I'm
some fake
looking at
ones,
everything.
too.
I've looked up what
There's
you
some
said,
memes,
and
too.
everything that I am reading is it's all been disproved. It's all fake.
Yeah, you have a
You ain't
responsibility
watching
to your mother
CNN
to
or
help you.
MSNBC. I told
I'm
you
looking at the
probably should-
website
I'm not
NBC
gonna
News,
tell an
and they
83
said it's
I'm
fake.
not- Okay,
Yeah.
I always said that I didn't know much about it, but that he managed to say things that
Okay.
offended her.
Okay.
It's out there.
Okay.
But if nothing else,
And
he
I'm
has to
looking
come out-
up NBC
All
News
right.
says it's fake.
Let's go with this though. Where's him saying it's fake? Where's his
Why does
damage
he need
control?
to?
Well, that's up
Yeah,
to the.
you're-
That's
you
what
might be right.
journalists are supposed to do.
You might be right.
Okay.
Well, we know that
All
we
right,
can't trust them, don't
so,
we?
So you're sitting here on a stream talking about how you can't support JD Vance because he
talked
insulted
about
your mother.
I
And
told
she
the
has
true
no reason to
story.
be insulted, according to what I'm saying.
I told the true story. Well, I'll talk to mom, but I told the true
I
story.
mean,
Let's
come on
not
now. We
make
know
this into
NBC
more
News
than
is
it
not going to be a fan of. Hold on, let me get this out there. NBC
The
News
fact
is
the
not going to
story
be a
was debunked
fan.
mean- Right. but the story
Excuse me,
was debunked.
I am talking.
Mute his mic.
But NBC is not going to be a source that wants to say something good about JD Vance, and if even they are coming out saying it's fake, then it's fake.
Don't you think that I'm acknowledging that it's fake? What I'm saying is we just proved at least that it was out there. I didn't make up that the story exists. Okay.
There's
That's all.
tons of shit out there. Doesn't mean that it's real.
Just say,
Yeah,
I
most
retract what I
likely,
said. I'll
but-
talk to mom and then drop it.
People
said
have
that
to be
before.
smart enough to look up things for
I-
themselves and not believe the first thing they hear.
We're not going to get an 83-year-old woman up to speed on the internet and have her doing it. I'm sorry. I'm not going to confront her, but like I said what Darren asked me to say before, so I stand by that.
All right. Well, we'll leave that as a dead issue.
If nothing else, that story that was out there that we proved had to be debunked. We all talked about it and did a little more to debunk it. So that's less disinformation in the world, isn't it? So this is a net positive.
It
Well,
took
that's
me
one of
2
the
seconds.
things- Well, that's one of the things.
I just said it was a thing that existed. I didn't say he said it. Nothing. I said
No,
that
what I'm
he's
saying.
associated with this
Oh
with
yeah,
law.
can I get a word in here real quick with this one? One of the things I think Andrew Breitbart said this, but I don't know if it was him. So, but the way to combat speech is not to censor it, but with more speech.
Precisely.
Agree.
Because when they say, well, you need to tone down your rhetoric, it's like, well, pot calling kettle black here.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you're saying things. It's like when they brought up Springfield, Ohio, and they're like, well, what you're doing could be considered dangerous because they're saying it's like, well, there's no the mayor says that's not happening, the police chief says that's not happening. Well, I'm sorry, but when I see on TikTok, I've got residents who are saying this shit is going on, I'm going to believe the goddamn residents.
They have a vested interest in keeping that information suppressed.
And anyway, they don't want it brought up because even if it was, because they try to say, well, he created a story. Well, what the hell? What was his name? Created a story about Mitt Romney about taxes and lying about it. And he said, well, it worked, didn't it? I don't remember the exact details on who
Harry
said it.
Reid. Yeah, Harry Reid. Yeah,
Yeah, Harry Reid. Thank you. Yeah, that fuck stick. And he openly admitted, yeah, we lied.
Yeah.
It worked. So it's like, what's the big deal? But the problem is they don't want to focus on this story because they're like, well, you bring it up eating animals. It's like, actually, now the spotlight is you got a town of 40,000 people with 20,000 Haitians in it. And all you're talking about is, well, we need to give them jobs and pathways to citizenship. No, you dumped half your population went from 40,000 to 60,000. You dumped another third on that population, and they're just supposed to deal with it.
Yeah,
It's not a border state. How'd it happen?
as
Yeah.
long as there's one veteran living on the street, hell no. Okay.
Absolutely.
That's well said.
Yeah, absolutely.
My city dealt with an issue very similar in the 80s where a bunch of Hmong refugees were transplanted here by the federal government, and we had some problems initially because they didn't look at buying food in stores as something that only rich people did that. They didn't think that's how they were supposed to survive, so they were hunting squirrels in our city parks and things, not even in season, you know.
Oh,
and so we had that problem. We had
Wait, there's a squirrel season?
Yes.
Yes. In fact, it's not a good idea to hunt squirrels in off season because the meat won't taste very good. It's selected for a reason.
It's
But,
a rabbit with a fancy tail.
Well, yeah, but the thing is that rats and squirrels are what they eat. So the ones that are out in the woods are eating natural things, and so they're fine.
So it tastes like
But,
deer.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't tell you what it tastes like.
Tastes like
But
chicken.
It's
Yeah,
a lot
I-
like
I-
a gamey chicken. Yeah,
I
but
like that somebody. Oh, sorry, Dan. I'll let you
but
go.
trying to get back to what I was talking about, it took basically that was just the first generation. Now they're the most well-adjusted, group of people we have living in the community. So but it took some time, and there's some cultural adjustment that has to take place.
Yeah,
so-
they have to want to acculturate, and I don't know if with seeing these people going around killing people's dogs and cats is acculturation. Like it seems like there's a resistance to it, but like it needs to stop now if they're going to recover any dignity. And how the hell did they end up in a city that's not a border state city, just in the middle of nowhere? Like how the
The
fuck does that
government
happen?
moved them there.
The government.
federal government
They
sent them
moved them
there.
in-
Yeah.
What do you think, Mr. Lundell? They moved them there in the dead of night.
Evidently.
Yeah. Well, one of the things is, and this is why now immigration is such, and these illegals are such a big thing, because Mr. Lundell, you're in Texas, right?
Yep.
Okay, because his brilliant governor said, okay, you're going to bust these people and not help us on the border state? All right, we're going to bust them out to you.
Right.
That was
And
the
he
smartest
did not
thing
succumb
I've
to the
ever seen
pressure.
him do.
Yeah.
The Shifty-gism's got sort of an interesting take. I don't know if anyone wants to address it.
Who?
Well, yeah, I'll address it. And I kind of think most of these stories about the pets are bullshit. I'm going to be
Probably, but-
flat out and say it. I think
I think
most
the
of the-
video is real, but we can't tell where it's from, right?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can't tell where the
exactly.
actual videos are from, and if it's actually this year, if it's 5 years ago, what it
If
is.
it's America,
Right.
You
Yeah.
can't
Yeah,
tell.
here's the thing.
Why would they be out hunting dogs and cats when they are getting shit tons of money handed to them from the government?
Hey, the
But
point
How do you think
was,
they're
like,
avoiding?
Here's
How,
the
how do you
thing,
think
though,
they
that
afford
You got
It's the
all
same-
these
the
cars
same
that they're
reason I-
crashing?
It's the
you
same
got
reason I
pictures
talked
of
about
guys
earlier.
carrying geese up and down the street. Okay,
Right.
it's not just crazy rumors about dogs and cats. You got people pictures of them, dead geese in their hand, walking up and down the street. Okay,
But are we sure that that picture of the geese is from that?
doesn't
You're
matter.
supposed to
yet.
kill them
The
in
matter
New
is,
York.
now
There's
there's
some
a spotlight on that place, and it's
In my-
hitting the more immigration problem, because now that this is, people are starting to realize, because what happened, Mr. Lindell? What did Governor Abbott do? He bused them to New York and Chicago and said, "You fucking take them."
You got to look at what
cities.
you got to take a look at the geese and judge what kind they are. If they're Canadian geese that stopped migrating, in a lot of states, they're nuisance creatures that the state gives you money to get rid of. So it could have been like a decent, it could have been legitimate bounty hunting. In New York, they use this animal.
Ohio.
Wait until one of them kills a bald eagle. That's all.
One of
No,
them
that
caused,
happened
one of them
last
caused,
year.
That's
No,
already
Darren,
happened.
Darren,
one of
that
them
happened
caused the
last
plane
year
to crash.
in Nebraska. 2 Hondurans killed a bald eagle to eat.
Yep.
I did
Yeah,
find that
Jeez,
story.
That's sick. That's
I
sick.
remember that.
I
But, you
did
know,
find that story. They
plane
tried
that crashed in the
recently. They
river.
tried to say it was this year, but I did some investigating, and that story came from March of 2023, and it was Nebraska, not freaking Ohio.
Just a final thing, so people don't wonder why. The reason why we got rid of the geese, they were invasive for years. They fucked everything up. All the parks were full of goose shit. No one did anything. it took down a plane. The Miracle on the Hudson was a double goose strike. That they were not migrating anymore. They are an invasive species in America. If they
No, they're
don't go
not.
from only if they go from point A to point B.
Yeah, we have a deer hunting season in the Wisconsin and Minnesota for the same reasons. They're an ecological menace. After
If they
a certain
stay
point,
past
they need to be culled.
migration season, yeah, they have to be culled off if they stop migrating because they'll overwhelm and destroy the environment. There was no grass on Long Island for 5 years.
Wow.
They destroyed Long Island's parks and every sump, every piece of water, every patch of water, everything. There thousands of them just walking around. Car accidents, probably these big meat pumpkins could wobble in front of your car at any time. I mean. And they did there was a double bird strike on that plane. It was a miracle that plane didn't blow up or hit a bridge or hit part of the city. A lot more lives than on the plane were at stake. And in New York, if they don't migrate or if they land anywhere near the airport, we delete them. And by the way, we send them to the homeless shelter in Philly, to the food kitchen. We feed them to the homeless people in Philly.
The city of Brother, yeah.
Well, we're not going to give it to our homeless people. They get the food from DC, I guess.
No, one of the funny things is when we have, it's getting that time of the year where the deer are coming back out and running around. And, Deej, side note here, real quick. Have you started harvesting?
We're starting this week.
Yeah, I think this is about the time everybody's about to start. I'm only seeing one area get plowed down now. Man, my neighbor's farm over here, man, their corn this year, man, it got tall.
Yeah, Deej, I was going to ask you a question about harvesting. Honestly, is there like a sweet spot during which you have time to harvest all stuff, or can an emergency crop up aside from say a cold spell or weird weather? Like it could everything like, holy shit, we misjudged it. The corn in this field's overripe. We got to move tomorrow or it's fucked. Is it that?
No, because it all gets planted, so we know exactly how long it takes for a crop to mature. So you have everything planted to where you make
time for how the summer works out too.
Hey, Deej, I like what last son OFK said, because it's like, yeah, they got 20,000 migrants over there.
And
they can't get rid of them. How long did it take them to get rid of them in Martha's Vineyard?
One day. It's one of the richest neighborhoods in America. One day.
Yeah, they were gone.
And they had hundreds of houses empty at that point. They could have put them up in.
We all know.
It's just like you watch the videos. There's videos out there, guys going out asking all these liberals on the street about will they take somebody in?
No.
And no. I don't have room. I rent or blah blah blah. They always have an excuse not to take any into their own homes, but they want them placed in other people's. So that's the liberal way.
Good for thee, not for me. Yeah, I'm like, shit. You got plenty of area at Martha's Vineyard. You're telling me you don't have what do they call it? A guest house?
Come on, Obama needed a new cook.
How about these celebrities in LA open up their mansions? I mean, how many of those rooms are actually getting used? Like all they do is virtue signal.
I still pull the whole Martha Vineyard crap when they talk about climate change and everything's going to flood. Yet they're all buying these oceanfront properties to live at. So and they can't be too worried about it.
I'm sorry, we're all too old. But let's see, what have we heard so far in our life?
Hell, when I was a kid, we were all going to freeze over at the new ice age.
Yeah, let's see. There was going to be where we're going to run out of fossil fuel in 1980, 1990, 2000, 2010. African killer bees were migrating over and going to kill us all. Acid rain was going to destroy our ecosystem. The ozone layer, well, actually, that one, I think, actually.
Y2K.
Isn't the real? Yeah, why?
Don't forget the Y2K.
Wasn't the real proof?
What was it? Everybody in the major cities was going to be, Yeah, you were supposed to be in a gas mask now, Teague, in the urban cities and all that.
Well,
stuff.
that's kind of true.
Yeah.
Honestly, the
But,
real
I
proof
mean,
here
it
is
was
that
just
they're
like-
gonna build-
We
the
went
real-
from what was it? Before it was global warming, then we went to global cooling, and then they're like, "Oh, let's just call it climate change. Let's just say
Right.
we'll use that as the general excuse." I'm sorry, but after
Yeah.
I heard all this shit, I actually heard one theory where they were like the polar ice. Yeah, it was like the polar ice caps are melting. All the cities in New York, LA, everything's going to be underwater. And I'm just like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And Thomas Potts, that's
Florida did admit
salty.
it, though.
That's salty that lived through the ice age, not me, Thomas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't the real sign of hypocrisy that they were supposed to build a wind farm off of Martha's Vineyard and they destroyed that idea because they would have to look at it?
Yep.
So
Or listen-
that's
listen to it,
that's
too.
really verifiable. I don't know how loud, how far out it would have been, or the sound. I heard all I heard was they didn't even want to look at it. So fuck them. But yeah, I mean, if they're all so loud, who knows? I've never seen a wind farm, so I wouldn't know.
Hey, all you gotta do is go back to my farm lives. I'm out there farming a field with one of them sons of bitches, and every time I get close to that son of a bitch, it gives me a damn migraine.
Oh man, there's actually a
They're
farm
noisy,
out
is that
here,
it?
and
You know, you'd think.
they're turning it into a solar farm. And as they've been constructing it, I'm just like, God, every time I go down this road, I'm gonna have to look at this ugly fucking thing.
It's
No.
not that they're super loud, but it's kind of like the vibration of the sonic that it gives off from the
Yeah.
sound.
So
That does-
maybe,
You don't notice it till
maybe
you
they
notice
should
it,
get
and then it
knocked. Maybe they
becomes
should get
annoying.
maybe they should get Noctua to make those propellers or impellers for them, so that because they make really
Well,
quiet fans. and
let's just say pre-op. Yeah, you know what? Get the guy from Dyson to make them, like just the ionic fan. But
Yeah.
honestly, like if I don't think anyone here scoffs at the idea that we can harness this power. It's just that we got to make it like not annoying, not a hazard, and like D just seems to be saying like it takes a couple of seconds to notice how annoying it is, but then once you notice it, you can't unnotice it, and it's just will give you a migraine. These are solvable problems, so let's not build anymore until we solve some of these fucking problems. The
Well,
solar
the
farm, I don't know.
The
Is that
problem we're
noisy?
running into, one of the problems we're running into, and this is where I'm going into history here, is think about it. When the automobile got popular, okay, because originally when something new and fancy comes out, the rich and the elite get it. And it was Henry Ford who made the car for the everyday man, and it went commercialized. And what did that do? It created innovation for more rubber, more steel. Gas stations came up. Rockefeller made a killing off it. Rockefeller made more money off of the government breaking up his monopoly than he did when he had it.
I think we only have latex till World War II. Like it's still rubber, like vulcanized rubber and like synthetic extensions to the latex and stuff. That's like World War II shit. But yeah.
And I mean, the steel industry got a bigger boom. Yeah, I was watching this series called The Men Who Built America, and it was the Industrial Revolution. And three of the biggest names are, them Rockefeller, Carnegie, and JP Morgan. And when you actually look at what they were doing, yeah, they built, and then there was a couple other ones like Van. I think his name was Vance. I haven't seen it in a little bit. But I mean, you just watch how these guys over the next 35 years build.
Isn't
the
Cyrus
American-
Vance the cotton gin?
Huh? No. This is well after.
Sorry.
No, this is after the cotton gin. Most of the Industrial Revolution mostly happens after World War II, or not World War II. Sorry, the Civil War.
War of 1812.
No, not the War of 1812. That was already done. Now,
The steam engine's 1830.
Yeah, but once we got the what was it called, Mr. Lundell? The
transatlantic, not transatlantic. They connected east and west with rail. Okay.
Yes, exactly. You know what I'm talking about. I just can't remember the name. But what that did when they did that, and that was where Vance was in. I think his name was Vance. But he had the biggest rail empire in America, he had the biggest boating shipping, because back then that's how we were shipping goods a lot of ways, was over the rivers and everything. And he had the biggest boating empire on that side of the Mississippi, and he sold everything because he saw the future was in rail. The point of the matter is these guys were visionaries. And yes, the reason why they had monopolies is because, well, none of these things had ever been done before. We were entering a whole new era. And labor unions, I mean, that's why we had Labor Day, is because of the labor strikes and stuff that happened back then.
There's about 50 years between those two events, actually. The transcontinental railroads right after the Civil War. The functional steam engines a little before that. I think 1840 is Robert Fulton and his steamboat quickly gets moved to rail. But I don't know that U.S. Steel was doing better at the invention of the car, because that meant the end of mass production and expansion of the railroads. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yes, it did. But at that point,
and unions and trust busting are 1905 under Teddy Roosevelt.
No. I know that, but it was the start. It was really that era there, which you got to understand that was 1905. Yeah. You're right. But Roosevelt is the one who busted it up. That's why he busted up Rockefeller and everything. And
they all went bankrupt on their own, though. They had to be helped. They needed socialism too. That's kind of why it happened. Well, and they were also breaking. They were breaking the small American farmer. They're breaking the small American farmer with the law.
Guys went bankrupt. Okay,
none of them went bankrupt.
That trust
Don't we have Conrail because of that?
Rich. Okay. What's his name?
None of those guys lost their fortunes. Rockefeller got more rich when they broke up his companies when the auto thing than he did ever when he had a monopoly. And then once JP Morgan, you got to remember, JP Morgan bailed the fucking federal government out.
Yep.
He had to bail our fucking government out. But his father had a very safe kind of business practice, and JP was more of a visionary. He saw the future. And each one of these guys got into different areas. You got to understand, when it came to Rockefeller, you got to understand, Rockefeller built basically the first pipeline. He built the first pipeline because I can't remember the exact detail right now, but he connected all because there was some kind of strike about getting the barrels over there, and it was like, okay, why don't we just build pipes and they can all come over here and go to my refinery?
No, that was Rockefeller feuding with Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt. That's who I'm talking about. Vanderbilt, not Vance. Vanderbilt. That's who I'm talking about.
Vanderbilt was the train baron. Rockefeller was the oil baron. And
those guys, they would fight like, Vanderbilt right. I kept
all those rich guys. They would actually fight amongst themselves.
Yeah, it was interesting. They had all those feuds going on. And
what does an oil baron do? Crush your enemies.
No, but there's a point to the matter is when you're somebody like that, you're absolutely filthy rich at this point. But it's not about the money. The money is, yes, the big benefit at this point. It certainly helps. But the power and the next innovation. That's why people like Rockefeller, Carnegie, Vanderbilt, and all them could do it because they evolved with the times for 35 years.
Yeah. And Ford was right on their heels.
Oh, Ford was definitely on their heels.
But Ford had to destroy a monopoly.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Go ahead, tell them.
Hey, guys. I gotta get going. I got to go eat and stuff. So we've been on for 3 hours. I think this has been a good enough long live stream. Anybody else got anything to promote before I get the hell out of here, though?
Demi Foot, Urban Sasquatch, sign up on Indiegogo.
There you go.
Thank you for having us on, and for a
And,
really
and
good
we know
talk.
what Geek has.
I
to
grew up
pro-
on men.
Good times, man. Good times.
Good times. Indiegogo for Darren, Mr. Lindell. You got anything coming up?
Wednesday night noir movie. I forget the title of it, but it's on. It's out there. Just look for it. Oh, the Third Man is Wednesday night's noir.
All right. All right. Well, you know what time it is, folks.
Am I fired again? Yeah, you're fucking absolutely fired. All your promotions are redacted. Like, dude, why would you have to fuck yourself like that? Why? You're clipping all this shit, aren't you? You're gonna have a fucking montage of all the times you were. I said you were right. I said you were wrong. I said you were fired. I said you were rehired. I said you were promoted during this live. You're gonna have them all and play them on your channel, aren't you? Well, you've absolutely been fired again because you're an asshole. You're fired from talking to me and being my friend and being on my channel. Get the hell out of here. Go on, get the hell out of here.